only regulated online gambling website.
Force 1440
And the Oilers Nation YouTube channel.
Security blanket for something here. He's got. He breaks lead and he takes it to distance. He is in. Touchdown San Francisco from 76 yards.
Cons, you going to send me a lineup? Extra brass bonanza for you on a positive Friday. How are you? Welcome to the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440 Oilers Nation, YouTube and Facebook, as always presented by our title sponsor, PlayAlberta.ca, where 100% of the revenue stays right here in the lovely province of Alberta at PlayAlberta.ca. And hey, if you're feeling like today's the day, Lotto Max. $70 million and 37 max millions. It's a lot of millions up for grabs tonight. You can get your tickets, and hey, maybe the men's 4x100 meter gold medal victory has you feeling like today's your lucky day, because what a performance it was by the Canadian men. What's so great about the relay? It's so quick, and as exciting as the 100 meter is itself, this one's almost more exciting because you got four legs and everybody's going quick. And obviously the guys are running faster because they're getting a running start by the time they get their baton, and then they go the 100 meters. Like Andre DeGrasse ran his 100 meters in 8.89. Now, of course, he gets a jogging start. That shows you, how much quicker you can be, a full second, which is fast. But it's every exchange has to be perfect. The U.S. botched their first exchange. I don't know what the hell they were doing. Their second leg, he took off way too early. Just got nervous. I don't know what he did, but miscalculated, because they were so far out of the exchange zone. It was comical, really. And so they're knocked out. But Canada, they were smooth, right in the outside lane, all the way through, and that was awesome. The last time, of course, Canada won the 4x100 meter relay. Well, the only time, 1996. And that's when you had Bailey and Bruni Surin and Glenroy Gilbert, who is the current coach of the men's relay team. And I remember Esme, and he had the blast off on the side of his head. That was awesome. That was outstanding in 96. They were killing it back then. But these guys today ran a 37.5 season best. And that's what you have to do at the Olympics. You got to be on. You got to be ready to roll. And they did. And that was epic. And how about Andre DeGrasse? He is now tied. And really, I would say he's leading because he has more golds than Penny Oleksiak. They each have 7 medals, but he has more gold. So if each have 7 and one has more golds, I'm guessing he has the tiebreaker. So would be technically a top for most decorated athlete all time for Canada at the Olympics. And if that's his final race for Canada at the Olympics, what a way to go out. That was awesome to watch. I know, Cons, if you were watching it live or not, but it was unbelievable. I love that race all the time. But of course, when you see Canada in it, and like the minute the U.S. botched theirs, I was like, hey, Canada's got a real chance. Like, I thought they had a really good chance to medal anyway. Obviously, the U.S., there's no guarantee the U.S. would have beat them. But the minute they botched it, you have no chance. Even if you stumble, you got no chance to win. So it was fantastic to watch and to see. And now, you know what? Coming up here in the next hour or so, you've got Canada going for another potential gold medal in beach volleyball. As well, they're guaranteed a silver. So that will push it to 24 medals, because earlier today in the C2 500 meters, for the second straight year, Canada stood on the podium for bronze. Katie Vincent, who won bronze in this event 4 years ago, she picks up her second, and her teammate Sloane McKenzie wins her first Olympic medal in her first Olympic Games. So that's quite a thrill for those two. That got them to 22 medals. Then the 4x100 gets them to 23. Now we will have another medal for sure in the beach. I'll get you to 24. So that will tie Canada's record for most medals at a non-boycott, because they did have 44 in 84, but there was lots of, big countries that weren't there. So that obviously alters a little bit. But when we won 24, we had 7 golds. We have 7 now. If they win on the beach tonight, that'll be it. And then, of course, there's a Connor Halley guarantee that the Wizard is going to win in breaking tomorrow. So we'll take that to the bank, according to our breaking insider, Connor Halley, who is very up-to-date on all the breakdancing at the Olympics.
Did you happen to see the Australian breakdancer today earlier, Gregor?
I did not.
Had some basic moves. I wouldn't say great moves.
Okay.
Going to be a internet celebrity for a little bit. She's kind of getting the meme treatment right now, but yeah, I think we're going to see a little bit more.
Why? Because
from
she
the
wasn't
Wizard.
that good?
Yeah, I mean, at one point she's just kind of spinning around on the ground. I mean,
Okay.
she's got the basic moves, like far better than I can do. I don't want to be critical and say that I could do better, because I wouldn't come even close. But for an Olympic event, the standards I think have to be higher, and she did not really, didn't really bring it there.
Okay. All right. Well,
And I will say now, hypothetically, if you did want to, make it a little more interesting, Phil Wizard right now does have the second best odds up at Play Alberta.
who's got the best?
Victor Montalvo.
Ooh. So we got the Wizard versus Victor. What's his moniker? What does he go by?
Yeah, it doesn't seem like just Victor.
Oh, what is these are the one name events now? What are we playing? European soccer?
He's very simple. Yeah.
Okay.
He's like a Brazilian soccer star.
Ooh.
Victor.
Victor. I like it. Well, we'll see who's the victor on tomorrow. So that should be fun. Coming up on the show, of course, hey, we're just talking about gold medals. Well, I'm sure she's fired up, of course, because we see Mitchell got through, and Lori-Ann Muenzer's race when she won the gold medal is going on right now. So she'll be fired up when she joins us here in the first hour. We got Tater, 2-minute warning, Willie Doncic. We will preview the Nashville Predators. We know they made some big moves, but how much better are they? And how many more moves do they need to make? Also, I'll be interested in this. Last year, it did not go very well for the New York Jets. The Aaron Rodgers experiment lasted how many snaps, Cons? Was it the first series?
First series, yeah.
It was the first series. So, yeah, that was kind of reminiscent of I think Brady went out in the first quarter way back when with the Patriots. I remember that only because I had him in fantasy football, and my starting quarterback didn't even last it to the first quarter of the season. So that was not ideal. Spec will be by Lowetide. We're also going to preview the Elks and the BC Lions. Can the Elks win 2 in a row? How many of you are now intrigued and maybe want to go to see that game on Sunday? Trey Ford, we know he's starting. I'll say this. I think Trey Ford minimum will add 1,000 extra fans in the stadium for that game. Minimum. I always like to make a guarantee. I would, that's what I think. So I look at how the Elks played last week. They're a favorite, which is kind of unique in itself to kind of see what's going to happen with them. So it should be great. Looking very much forward to seeing what is going to happen this weekend here in Edmonton. If you're a playoff fan, guess what? Riverhawks, baby. They're in action tomorrow night. If you want to go see some playoffs. Now, last night, they got a few tickets left, but I wouldn't wait much longer. If you want to get in the building, it's going to be rocking on Saturday evening. First ever playoff game for the Riverhawks. Now, it's only the second season, so I'm not saying it's like it's been a long time coming by any stretch of the imagination. They have continued to just get better as an organization all the time. So it's great to see. And the weather should be pretty good. Should be good weather for that Elks game on Sunday night as well. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440 in our inbox, your partner in power since 1976, supplying the province of Alberta and the city of champions with all great electrical gear. That's EWEL.ca. Cons, what's going on here? Is it TV 1, Connor Halley, nothing?
Yeah. The TV, the cable box, I would say 1, Connor Halley, Brandon Douglas, Donovan Paulson, Alan Mitchell.
Look, why don't we
Shut
call?
out.
Did you call Troy?
That's my step right now.
Yeah. Get Troy. We need a real technical guy. Do we try shutting it off and rebooting it?
Well, yeah, I don't know where the cable box is actually located.
Oh.
Therein line. And I tried to put it on from my phone, but it won't connect. We'll bring in the experts for this one.
Yeah, bring in the experts because we need it. We need it to, now that, you know what, we didn't have it for the first few months, but now that we've upgraded, I'm spoiled. I need the TV, especially when there's action going on. Also, to talk about, I don't know, did you see it last night? What did we talk about yesterday in our Play Alberta pick? We had the double for Vladimir Guerrero. Well, geez, we went for the double, but he got a triple and a home run. He went 3 for 4. This guy is absolutely mashing it. So Vladimir Guerrero now has a 20-game hitting streak. He's batting over 500 in that. 36 of 69. Like, are you kidding me? This guy is on fire. He is so red because guys will be on hit streaks, but you don't see this very often. He is only now, because keep in mind, there's 37 hit streaks of 30 plus games or more in MLB history. He's at 20. So, and I was looking like there's over 100 guys who've had a hit streak of 20 games. But Vladimir Guerrero is one of only 5 players in MLB history to have 35 plus hits, 10 plus doubles, 10 plus home runs, 10 plus walks in a 20-game span. He's absolutely mashing it. He's got a great batting average. He's hitting for power. He's got slugging percentage. He's got on-base percentage. He's not striking out very. I think he's got 7 strikeouts. He is just, right now, you want to tune in when Vladdy's at the plate. He's that good. He got 7 home runs in his last 11 games. He is rocketing up all of the stats in baseball. Now, people are going to say, oh, yeah, the Jays aren't good. Who cares? It's not what we're talking about. We're talking about Vladimir Guerrero. It's one player. He can't hit for anybody else. He can't. He can't pitch. Well, at least I don't think he can pitch. But it's awesome to see. I'll tell you that right now. Awesome to see. Hey, Gregor, didn't the Patriots have the mighty Matt Castle? They were like 11-5, missed the playoffs. Well, they're not my Patriots. Let's be honest there, Manny. Definitely not my Patriots. But yes, they did go 11-5 that year and missed the playoffs, oddly enough. Because they didn't win their division, and there was tons of teams with better wild card records. It was crazy. That was a year of lots of good. Hey, Gregor, is it true that Greg Distributors is the rumored Elks owner from Brock? Well, that might be the rumor, but I don't think that's accurate. From all the people that I've spoke to, no, that is not the case. So that would be great, right? Very connected to the community. No question, but not who I have been told it is. So kind of stick with there. Hey, guys, the Elks still stink. Not looking forward to it all, even with Ford from Cam. What do you mean, Cam? Trey Ford's entertaining. They ran all over Saskatchewan. Their defense was very good. You tell me they can't beat BC? BC just didn't even score a point last week, and they don't have their starting quarterback. Edmonton's actually the favorite, for goodness sakes. The Elks don't stink ever since they got rid of Chris Jones, who wouldn't play their best players. Stunning to me. I don't think I'll ever get over that. Honestly, I don't think I'll ever get over the fact that for 2 consecutive seasons, he believed that Trey Ford wasn't his best option at quarterback. Like, pardon? I don't get it. I do not get it at all. (833-401-1440), 833-401-1440. Hey, guys, how many times has Canada won the relay for the women? Never at the 4x100. Never. And Canada, I'm pretty sure that's only the second time we've won in the 4x100 for the men. But no, the women made the final, which was great. It was all first timers, and they finished 7th. They were competitive. No one was expecting them to medal. and hopefully they can build off that. But no, the Canadian women making the final was great. I think that's the first, maybe the second time that they've made it to the final, but they have never won a gold in the 4x100. It's a pretty prestigious event, to say the least. Pretty prestigious event. Hey, Greg's, did you say second or third season for the Riverhawks? Did I say second? It's obviously the third. Did I say second? My bad. So, yes, it's obviously the third. If I said second, that was a mistake on my part. It's obviously their third season. Hey, guys, I'm joining fantasy football for the first time. What do I need to know? P.S. It's a PPR league. From Frank. Well, Frank, do we have enough time? I guess, you know what? Do your research. Number one, I recommend looking up a lot of different sites to find out. And now you can go overanalyze on things too. I'll say this about your fantasy. If you want to be a competitive team, you're fifth to however many players you have on your roster. Those are the picks where you can win or lose. For the most part, like if you get, like, obviously sometimes you can get a guy who's way better than everyone else at their position. That can help you, no question. But they're kind of like McCaffrey last year was an absolute beast. Now, is he going to be that much of a beast again this year? Remains to be seen. But usually if you get McCaffrey, that means you're probably picking number 1, number 2, and then you don't pick again if you're in a snake draft until 23 or 24. So it all depends. If it's a PPR league, historically, you look, the value of wide receivers, I still think is underrated. That'd be my opinion on it. So I don't know, have fun. I would say this. Don't be the guy who takes it too serious. It's fantasy. Okay. Yeah. Don't ever yell at a player online because they didn't score a touchdown because you started them. Don't be that guy. All right. That would be really my only thing. Enjoy it. It's fun. I actually like the chirping in the league more than the actual playing of the league, I think. Cons, what would be your tip?
Tune into Fantasy Frenzy Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. till
Good
noon.
answer. Really good answer.
Right now, we are doing our NFL previews. Today, we talked Cowboys. We're going to go team by team, so you can get a really good breakdown, some potential sleepers. Jake Ferguson, what we learned today, underrated. Not getting a lot of love at the tight end position. Someone people might want to take a look at. Had 101 targets last year. But I think, do your research, tune into, get the magazines, look for the deep sleepers. You gotta look at the waiver wire. When injuries happen, you gotta be very wary of who you can look to pick up. Puka Nacua last year after week 1, some people thought it's one game. Don't get too excited. He would go on to do it through the entirety of the year. But also, for me personally, I kind of think, get your stud receiver, especially in a PPR league, but then go get that running back. It drops off pretty quick after the McCaffreys. Some people might say Breece Hall, Bijan, Jonathan Taylor, and Jahmyr Gibbs. Then you're going to get to that second category. So I think you want to make sure you get at least one stud running back. If you can get a guy who gets a lot of receptions as well, that's going to be a bonus in a PPR league. But yeah, do your research, have some fun. And yeah, don't be the guy who DMs, let's say, Saquon Barkley after a bad game. Just weird behavior.
Well, I'm guessing he wouldn't have his DMs open, but you never know. Maybe I'm wrong on that. I would kind of be surprised if he did. So we'll return. The sport that I've found myself watching more just because I'm in awe of their ability to be that athletic underwater for that period of time, synchronized swimming. I have to say that's probably the one sport I found myself that, like, if you would have given me a list of sports that I was going to watch when the Olympics started, that wasn't going to be at the top of my list. But we had a family friend who's competing in it. So obviously that makes you, I paid attention. Then all of a sudden I just found myself like, I was just in awe of what they could do, to be honest. Like, it's that to me, of all the sports, like, you could get some people that can run. Now they might not run fast, but they would look like they could run. I don't think you could find many people who could come remotely close to looking decent in synchronized swimming. Cons was talking about the Australian breakdancer and wasn't great. Imagine putting people to try to synchronize swim. It would be comical. Honestly, like, there's somebody out there that you might only run 100 meters in 15 seconds, but you would look like you at least know how to run. Myself, and I would guess 99% of you, we would look terrible synchronized swimming. Terrible. Quick break. We'll come back a little bit more on the green and gold next. Presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
The summer road lays ahead. Your potential destinations are endless. Volvo Cars Edmonton gives you choice to match. Right now, lease a 2024 Volvo XC90 from 0% for qualifying loyal customers. Or save $7,000 on all new 2024 XC60 recharge plug-in hybrid models. All demo vehicles come with a free 10-year, 1 million kilometer warranty. No matter what you decide this summer will become, your first choice is Volvo Cars Edmonton. VolvoCarsEdmonton.com, 1205 101 Street Southwest.
I'm Colin Livingston, president of Cantork. Since 2016, we've been at the forefront of hydraulic torque wrenches in Canada. I'm delighted to share our latest venture, in-house production for quicker turnaround, superior quality, and heightened versatility. Experience excellence at Cantork.com.
Now, all sizes of premium roast coffee at McDonald's have a new low price starting at $1 plus tax for a small. It's great if you love great tasting coffee. $1 small premium roast coffee every single day. Must be McCafe. Plus tax at participating restaurants in Canada. Excludes delivery.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
You turn on the tap and water comes out. You press the handle and flush the toilet. Living in our modern world, we sometimes take for granted or don't even think about all of the services and conveniences that are around us every day. But GS Construction does. Right under your feet, there's a whole network of underground infrastructure that needs to be built and maintained in order to have these basic services. GS Construction has been laying the groundwork for your community for 50 years. Find out more by going to gsconstruction.ca.
The Toronto Blue Jays are on Sports 1440. Every weekend, catch all the action with play-by-play announcer Ben Schulman. The Blue Jays, this Saturday and Sunday on Sports 1440. Edmonton's home for all things sports.
For over 65 years, Denham Ford has delivered the customer service and value that keeps Albertans moving. And nothing moves Albertans better than Canada's best-selling truck, the Ford F-150. Here now with rates as low as 0% or savings up to $17,000. That's the value you've come to expect from where cars always cost less. 0% or $17,000 off F-150s. Only at Denham Ford in Wetaskiwin or at denhamford.ca.
Sunday afternoon, your Edmonton Elks host the BC Lions for Country Day. Yeah! Before the game, there'll be country music and tailgate, a petting zoo for the kids, and cowpokes can ride the mechanical bull to win prizes. Tickets and more at GoElks.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. The Cheesy Burger Pizza is back. Beef, slicey dicey tomatoes, dilly, pickles, ooey gooey cheese, and burger sauce. Grab it while it's here for the summer. Only $18.99 at papajohns.ca.
.224, welcome back. Positive Friday edition of the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, Orders Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. Hello to you listening, sports1440.ca, watching online and YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, some of you even on Instagram. Hey, wherever you consume the show, we very much appreciate it. All of you at Sports 1440 on radio, which is still where the majority of people are. We love it. Thank you very much. Some of you using the app, the radio player or iHeartRadio app, Stingray apps, where you can listen anywhere. I know a lot of you who are drivers and drive all over the province. You put it on the app and you can hear us anywhere. crystal clear. So that is fantastic. Thanks for joining us on a positive Friday. And if you are a track fan, it is a very positive Friday as Canada wins gold. Aaron Brown, Jerome Blake, Brendan Rodney, and Andre DeGrasse in a season best time of 37.5 seconds win the gold medal. Huge. The Americans botched their first exchange. They end up getting disqualified. Like, it wasn't even close. Like, if you watch that, I'm kind of like, what is happening? Well, why did he leave so early? It made no sense to me. I didn't get it, but it's unfortunate. I guess that's what happens in the heat of the moment. Anything can happen. So we'll see where it goes. Now let's get to our big guest of the day, brought to you by Silent Rides Charter Company, one of Alberta's premium bus charter companies with state-of-the-art motor coaches that will safely take you or your group to your next destination. Book your ride today at silentrides.ca. As we are joined by Olympic gold medalist coming up on it's officially 20 years since she won, but the actual date is coming up in a few weeks. And her event was actually ongoing today as Lori-Ann Muenzer joins us. Lori-Ann, how you doing?
Awesome. Happy Friday, Jason.
Yeah, happy Friday to you. And it's now like obviously watching all the events, that I know the road race came and you're watching that one for sure. But now that you see your event, does your viewing change for you?
I think my heart rate changes most of all. It's just, I think it's harder waiting and watching, literally. And it's like, I've got the times all written down when we're supposed to go. I set the alarms and they're going off. And
so you're up early. You're watching live, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
yep.
yeah.
I was up at 5 doing a few things, getting the coffee maker going. 6 o'clock, boom, on, ready to go. So it's harder as a spectator than being an athlete, because you're just so focused in. As an athlete, you only have one thing to do. Where are you? Go for breakfast or go for lunch. And then you get on the bus, you go to the venue, and then you set up and you go through your routine. You've gone through it 10,000 times, that it's just, what to do. And then it's a matter of waiting for your heats. And I was thinking of you this morning, because typically, remember, we talked about, well, who leads, who goes first, and who goes second. And I said, well, we used to pick golf balls out of like a Crown Royal bag. Like, I used to have a Crown Royal bag. I think everybody did way back when. And then I saw this guy with an iPad, and he puts the iPad in front. The rider touches it, and then they go to the next one until they're all done. And it's how they draw first, second, third, or fourth position now, which was like, whoa, technology.
Yeah.
And I tell you, the golf balls and the straws were way better. They were more fun.
Oh, yeah.
You could really hang on to it and just, mess with the official just for a split second.
Yeah.
So.
Now, so there's no gamesmanship involved.
No.
How would you, so when you're watching it, are you like, do you just watch it relaxing? Or are you watching it from a technical viewpoint of, should have tried that there. Geez, that was a really good move. That was a good decision. How do you view it?
Absolutely. I'm commentating the whole way with Mark and Kurt Harnett, right? It's just, I'm just looking at it from the technical, from the strategic point of view. What kind of gear inches are they running? Where are they waiting? Are they up on the track? Are they on the middle or on the low part? And it's just, setting up for the flying 200, we'll see them first through last, and then they go into the rounds. Because there was 32 women, 2 scratched because of the Kieran incident. They crashed. They had a really bad crash.
Yeah, I did see that. Was like, what happened in that crash? What?
The gal in the back, her wheel overlapped the rider in front. And always, Jason, the last rider always goes down, or the slowest rider. In that case, it's always the rider behind. And she wiped out, and she took 2 other riders with her. And you just got to relax when that happens, because the more you stiffen up, the more you brace, you're probably going to break something. They'll bounce around. They'll lose, like the one gal lost half of her skin suit. The Chinese gal got the bike in the face, which was just, oh my God, like you don't want to watch it. And it's just, it happens. Like they actually had to stop and fix the track because they dented the track.
What?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like the bikes broke, the wheels broke.
They dented the track.
Well, the track is hardwood. It's Siberian wood. So just imagine,
So do they have to take, I didn't see that. So do they take out like one? It's like, if anybody out there couldn't relate, you got your hardwood and maybe you drop something on it. So now you can just take out the one slab?
No, they don't take it out. But what they do is they have to clean it off.
Okay.
You have to make sure that all the shards, anything that's there is cleaned off. So they've got the vacuum out, they've got the sander out. And then what they're doing also too is sometimes they have to fill the cracks or the gouges that are taken out, because if your wheel gets into it, it can throw you either way, left, right, or it can just kind of like stop you. You're on a bike that has one gear, no brakes. You're probably traveling around, maybe 60, 65, 66 kilometers an hour, no sweat. But you cannot have that deviation. And then you're riding literally elbow to elbow. The handlebars are usually 1 or 2 centimeters narrower than usual, because what you do is your elbows will be like your cushion or your bouncer of locking handlebars, because you don't want to lock handlebars because you're going to wipe out really bad. And it's just, it happens sometimes. I think that was one of the first events that we saw where there was carnage on the track. The gals did walk away. The Chinese gal, I'm not so sure. I hope she's okay, but yeah, it happens, and they got to fix the track, and then there's a bit of a time delay with that.
How did you feel Kelsey Mitchell did today?
Oh man, she's coming through the back door. She's coming through the hard way, and she's still in the game. She's still in the game.
Well, we've seen that for Canada. We've got a few medals coming through repechage, which is kind of the same thing, right?
It is. It is. And it's like, man, it's that second chance. Sometimes the ride or the event doesn't go your way, but there is one more opportunity, and you got to take those opportunities and you got to run with them. You got to give them everything. She has her work cut out for her for the next round. I think she's going to do it.
Well, that'd be great. I look forward to it. The Canadian men win the 4x100 today, and that's massive. Haven't won it since '96, and the women got 7th in the final, which is very impressive for them. All first timers really at the Olympics, so I think that's pretty impressive for both sides. But what has, like, outside of Summer McIntosh, because first athlete ever to win 3 gold medals for Canada, it's like the Captain Obvious. That's the story of the Olympics. There's no question in my mind. Like, it's, to win 1 gold medal, as you would know, is pretty difficult. Never mind 3, right? At 17. So what else has kind of captured your imagination, maybe good or bad, in watching this performances so far from Canada?
Oh my gosh, the guts, the glory, giving her everything. Look at fencing starting. Look at judo, first gold medal. It's just, there are so many firsts, and it's just, I don't know. It's just, we've got 2 more days. It's not over. And it's just the athletes and the sports that maybe we don't always hear about. They're coming to light because we've got the athletes that have been here for quite a while. They're just going through what it is that they do. Some are coming in as an underdog. Some are coming, super highly watched. Look at Summer. Look at Andre DeGrasse. There's so many athletes here, and sport is only one person or one team can win. That's it. That's all.
Yeah.
I mean, look at what happened with soccer. That was do or die, and they really raised the bar, even despite the controversy. We won't talk about boxing. That's a whole other story. But I mean, there's so many different things. Even look at the water quality. It's like, ooh, it really gets you to start thinking. Are you operating on automatic pilot? Are you just going through your motions? Are you going through your days? Or are you pausing and thinking about, what am I doing? What do I want to do? Whether it's the next 3 months or the 6 months, or even just this next week. Are you thinking about what it is that you want to do? And I think that's one of the things the games really starts to bring out, is what is possible. And it also brings out hope for not only a nation, but for the world, of going, hey, we could do some really great things if we put our heads together and we just start going after what we see in our head.
Yeah, no, I think there's obviously been some monumental ones. Canada's like the dominant hammer throw nation now. I didn't know that going in. Well, I did know that we had the 2 reigning world champions, but they both came through, which is not easy to do. Just because you're the favorite doesn't mean you're going to win.
Nope.
At all. And it's been quite good. The soccer thing is what it is. The fact that the heritage MPs now, they're like, oh, we got to have a big investigation. Like what? The drone, it's stupid. They're dumb. They flew in a no drone zone, which makes it even more idiotic. But I'm like, they'll go to an investigation into that, but they won't do an investigation into all the food, all the crap that's in our food system. Like, I don't know, maybe look for something that matters. No offense, but how many people are like, okay, they got caught cheating. What else do we need? Like, what more investigation do we need here?
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I just don't see what else there is. The games themselves, you mentioned and the boxing is a topic, and I've addressed it. We've talked about it on the show. They're both women. And you know what? You have high testosterone. This is not someone who's had a sex change. It's not transgender. They're women. Like men, some men are more testosterone fueled than other men. It's just a fact, right? Like in different events, you might have stronger legs than another biker. Does that mean that, well, you're not? You can't do it? Like to me, I thought the thing that got missed by a lot of people was the Italian boxer quit because she got hit too hard in a sport that is about getting hit. And she apologized the next day because these women were in the Olympics last time. It was never an issue. And so I was more upset. Something like you get to the Olympics, like in a sport that's brutal, let's call it what it is. Boxing is a brutal sport. We can't sugarcoat it.
It's physical.
And I remember Jelena Marjanovich telling me that she had a hard time finding women who wanted to fight her because they said, well, I hit too hard. Well, someone's going to hit harder than you. Someone's going to skate faster. Someone's going to cycle harder. That doesn't mean we have to suddenly be like, oh, wow, the IBA did their test. So that means everything's off the table here. Where, like, as a woman athlete, where do you come out on it?
Well, I think in the boxing part, there's a little bit more going on than what we actually see and what we know. So, that's a really hard one.
Like, what do you mean more? Like steroids?
Well, somebody said to me, well, how many Olympics should we have? I think we should have the para. I think we should have the Olympics and then the enhanced Olympics. There's that going on as well.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's a whole other kettle of fish.
Well, then China's the swimming team would have a hard time getting in.
There's always stories about that. And it's just like, what are the facts? And what are all the facts? And I don't think all the facts have been tabled. And then sometimes it's, okay, what is going on right now? The Olympics. So we also have to keep that image in line as well. And
there's always going to be speculation in many sports. Cycling is a power sport for sure. So if somebody's going to want to take steroids, it wouldn't shock me, right? The whole goal is to go faster.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much every event is there to go quicker. So is steroids always going to be the one that, I don't know how I word this correctly, because I don't believe that the majority of athletes are taking steroids. I really don't believe that. I just think, we have some great athletes and they train really hard and now with nutrition and everything else, and you can take legal enhancements. Why would you risk taking steroids? Right?
I don't think it's just steroids. I think
what else would it be?
HGH? We'll call it extra supplements. Because there's always going to be the medical system, right?
Okay.
There was that movie on Netflix about the Russian gentleman who was very good at concocting stuff.
Right.
Right. And then he worked with the cyclist.
But isn't that considered steroids in your eyes or no?
I don't think it's just steroids. I think steroids is one thing.
Performance enhancing. Maybe that's a better
There
word.
you go. That's the word. Yeah. Okay. Performance enhancing. There's always going to be the athletes that will do it. And there will be the athletes that will be like, no, I'm not going to do it. And then there's those that are truly gifted. So there was a study that was done where if you were guaranteed gold medal, money, fame, everything, and you took the performance enhancing whatever, but you would be dead in 5 years, would you take it?
Oh, I'm sure lots said
and
yes.
The results was like hands down. So many people did and would, but it comes down to what do you want to do? How fast do you want to go? And what's on the line? Some countries, they have so much to gain by winning a medal that it's a life change. It's like their family benefits. They benefit. They get a better lifestyle. And until you've been to some of those countries, it's like you go to South America, you go to Cuba, and you realize, especially as a Canadian, just how lucky we are. There's other countries like, look at Great Britain. I mean, they have incredible funds that get poured into their system. When I was training in 2003, Victoria Pendleton from GB was not the rider, but they had like 18,000 pounds, I think is what it was, that she was getting a year, which is like $36,000 a year to be an athlete. And I was getting, what was I getting? $1,000 a month? Like there's just no comparison. You look at AIS, the Australia Institute of Sport, and it's just, I mean, they have the system in place where the athletes are supported. You can actually make a living and that you don't have to go to work or, you don't have to have the funds of mom and dad or different support like that. So
Well, I'd look at, and then there's other countries that, their whole sports system is somewhat corrupt, and they almost encourage you to cheat. In Canada, I think it's safe to say that they encourage you not to take performance enhancing drugs. I think that's fairly. I've never heard or read a story. Now, they might encourage you to spy with a drone, but they don't encourage you to take performance enhancing drugs.
Well, the thing is, a lot of people don't know there's the Canadian Center for Ethics in Sports, CCES.
Yeah.
You've got a book. It was printed when I was growing up and racing. It was like an inch thick. And there was like a whole list of what you couldn't take and some of the supplements that you could take. But then it was always constantly changing. And if you wanted to do something, number one, you had to let them know. Number two, you had to let them know your whereabouts. Am I just here in, when I was living in Toronto, it was
So
Toronto.
if you change supplements, you'd have to tell them?
Yep, absolutely.
Oh.
Absolutely. Because they do random. They
Okay.
show up at your house. They
Yeah.
show up at events. They show up at your training venues. You have to give them, as you're going into the Olympic season, you had to give them your whereabouts. You had to give them your training schedule as well. Like when you're going to be there, what's the address? Because if they want to show up, they can show up unannounced. So, yeah.
But when you overall though, until someone's proven that they cheated, isn't it just like guessing, right? Like where do you stand on, if you don't fail a test and no one proves it, are you clean?
If you're clean, you're clean. That's what I think.
Yeah. So unless you fail a test, then you're clean.
Well, because they always do two samples.
Right.
You pee in one bottle, you pour it into two. There's the A sample, which gets tested if there's anything that is suspicious, as we'll say, or it's like, okay, we really need to do this. You have the B sample and you're called in, you're present, and then they analyze it.
Yeah.
So that's what you're working
with. When you were competing, was there a high level of concern in the cycling world of people doping or performance enhancing?
That's a good question.
Did you ever get accused of it?
I didn't get accused of it.
No.
Probably too honest. It's like, hey, if you want to see what I'm doing here, I had just regular supplements, a regular multivitamin from Shackley. I had the physique supplement from Shackley, which was a recovery drink. It tasted really good. I felt better afterwards. And then I had flaxseed and vitamin C. That was the list of my extent of stuff. So there wasn't that. And it was like, anytime you wanted to come over, I had doping control show up on Easter, on Good Friday. And
just randomly at your house?
Oh, yeah. I was sleeping. It was nap time. Stupid me. I had my front door open, like the screen door was locked. And all of a sudden, knock, knock, knock. And so I poke my head out and I'm like, okay, grab my house coat. And I go to the front of the door and there's a lady and there's a kid there. And I'm like, hi. And she goes, hi. I'm from, CCES. And I'm like, do you have chocolates? And she goes, chocolates? No, why would I have chocolates? I said, because it's Easter. Anyway, so I let her in my house. We did the pee test and everything. And then she left.
She had her kid with her?
Yeah.
Well, I guess she was working.
She was making some rounds and stuff, right? So anyways, after I won, there was a brown paper bag that was dropped off at my house. And my roommate, he calls me, he goes, Lori-Ann, there's a brown paper bag here. What do I do with it? And I'm like, I don't know. Well, what's the name on it? He goes, I don't know. W. Mancini.
It was the lady?
DCO. I don't know.
Oh.
I didn't know what it was. I said, put it in the garage just in case, it was going to blow up or something. I didn't want my house to blow up. So finally, when I got home, I wasn't allowed to go home for 2 days because we weren't sure. I went into the garage and there was a brown paper bag. So I opened it. It was Purdy's chocolate.
From her?
From the district control, or the doping control officer.
Celebrating your victory.
Yes. So I did get the chocolates, but
just a little bit later. But
5
that's a good
months
memory
later.
for her.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good memory.
Yeah. So, how
many times did you test?
At the Olympics, twice.
Twice at the actual Olympics, like once each
in
year?
04. No, in 04, because I was the random for the 500 meter, which was the first event.
What do you mean? So what do you mean you were the only one?
No.
Oh.
They'll do probably the gold medalist, some of the medalists, and then there's always a random.
Oh, okay.
So I was the random with the doping control for the 500 meter.
Right.
And then 48 hours later, we started the sprint racing. When I finished after the 3 days.
And you won.
And I won.
You had to do it again.
I had to do it again. Yeah, which is fine. It's like, whatever. But yeah, that was the only time when Wendy showed up at my house without chocolates, that it was totally random. Otherwise, I would get a call and you have 24 hours to pop into a location. So it's like they work around your schedule.
Okay. Lori-Ann Muenzer. So that was my next question was, when they call you, let's say you're on holidays and you're in Maui.
Nope. We didn't have cell phones back then, Jason. Not like what we do.
Okay. So, but if you're on holidays, then what happens? Nothing?
Nothing. Because I didn't
they
know
can't
about
get a
it.
hold of
They
you.
couldn't get a hold of me. No.
Okay.
Nope.
But let's say today, because everybody has a cell phone.
Yep.
If they call you and you're like, oh, you know what? I'm in Maui, for instance. Do you still have 24 hours? Like, do they have a place in Maui that you would have to go to? Or do they say, okay, we'll wait till you get back?
My guess would be that they would have somebody that you would go and do, because the testing, I believe, is pretty universal.
Huh.
Right? You have to be accredited. You have to be designated to be able to do these. There's a certain protocol. It gets sent to wherever they do the testing. So that would be my guess. I don't know, but that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hopefully we'll be watching. What's the, we got a few texts saying, when's Lori-Ann? When's the, is it tomorrow morning? Do you know when's the next time to watch?
Yes. 9 a.m. tomorrow morning is the 1/8 finals. And that again is the one shot. You win your heat. It'll be 2 riders paired up.
Yeah. You
one
win,
rider,
you move on, lose, you're done.
No, not yet. You lose, you go into the repechage. And the repechage will be probably either 3 up or 4 up.
And you have to win.
You have to win. It's do or die. That's what the repechage is.
Right.
It's do or die.
And so it's 1 out of 4. Do you find the repechage, are they more aggressive?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
oh geez. Yes. It's also like drag racing, because only one person is going to go through. The question is, you have 2 riders to watch and keep an eye on. It's a little harder when you're in the middle, because you have a rider in front, you have the rider behind you, or they may be a little bit higher because they're going to go up on the track. And it's it's beyond cat and mouse, which is just 2 people. One leads, one follows.
Right.
And it's like it picks up, and it's fast. It's really fast. And sometimes there's bumping, sometimes there's dumping that goes on. Hopefully you're holding your line and you're across the finish line first. And that's where, like, I don't know if you noticed in one of the earlier heats, I don't know which one it was, the Dutch girl won, and both her and the rider on the inside, who was at the bottom of the track, they had literally thrown their bikes, and it was 0.001. 1/1000th of a second that separated them. And it literally came down to the photo finish. So there's a couple times when it's, thank goodness the camera has been there, because otherwise it looks like a tie to the naked eye. But it's just literally 1/1000th of a second is the width of a hair.
No, I know. It's crazy.
It's nuts.
Well, enjoy it, Lori-Ann. We'll chat with you next Friday.
You betcha.
There you go. That's Lori-Ann Muenzer, gold medalist 20 years ago in cycling. We'll return. We got Cam Tait. Then the Moj will join us as we talk Elks and Lions on the Positive Friday edition of the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440. Oilers Nation, YouTube and Facebook, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
The only thing as hot as the weather this summer is a night out at On the Rocks. Every weekend, enjoy live music and top DJs spinning your favorite tracks. The dance floor is the place to be. Celebrating a birthday or stagette? Let OTR take the work out of the planning for you. Book your party online at ontherocksedmonton.com. Join OTR every evening from 4 p.m. for a great atmosphere and good company. There's something for everyone to enjoy. Grab your Good Vibe Drive and head to On the Rocks, corner of Jasper Ave and 118th Street.
In 1973, deep in the basement of an Edmonton family home, an elite team of specialized forces came together to form Action Electrical.
Action Electrical Divisions, assemble!
Projects team reporting.
Service team reporting.
Testing team reporting.
Energy team reporting.
Supercharged with skills in their electrical fields and grounded by strong family values. Facing an electrical menace? Call on the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
Rule number 62. Never miss a free pancake breakfast. It's unheard of and frankly a little upsetting. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instance, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days. Because we all know they don't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Japa Machinery Group knows that XCMG may not roll off the tongue, but Japa's team will help keep your construction jobs rolling on time and on budget with heavy equipment sales and rentals. Visit japamachinery.com to
Maybe
find out more.
never drove a swather, but it's on my bucket.
Melancholy. Summer is ripe for fun, and some Booster Juice bestsellers are back in season. Watermelon smoothies, including the refreshing Watermelon Wave, a berry burst of strawberries, raspberries, pomegranate, and vanilla frozen yogurt, and fan favorites, Watermelon Explosion, a refreshing burst of bananas, mangoes, and pineapple, both made with watermelon sorbet and probiotic yogurt. All of the
To an
watermelon,
A and B,
none of the
your 2-minute warning whether you want it or not.
Visit a Booster Juice near you today, or download the Booster Rewards app.
.52. Welcome back at Sports 1440 Orders Nation YouTube. Lori-Ann, before you leave, we had a question. What was that recovery drink that you had?
It was called Shackley Physique.
Shackley Physique?
Yeah,
Is it
Shackley
still
is the
around?
company. I think it is, actually. They
all
had banana and strawberry, like
Okay.
the strawberry, but I think they only got banana.
All right, because they're saying if it's good enough for a gold medal athlete, maybe it's good enough for our listeners. So there
It was good.
All right, there we go. Nice. 252. Cons, do you have an update in the beach volleyball match?
Yeah, first set right now, Brazil coming back. Canada was up actually by 4 or 5 points. At one point now, it is a 19-18 for the Brazilians.
Oh, geez. So yeah, it's a battle.
Brandy Wilkerson looked locked in early. She was she had some swag, and now we're tied again.
Okay.
Not to go play by play, but yeah, heck of a match right now going on for gold medal at one of probably what I would say the best stadiums out there, right under the Eiffel Tower. Looks awesome.
The venue, you're right.
Yeah.
Like picturesque. The scenery is quite nice for sure. Now, let's get to the 2-minute warning brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, home of the no payments, no interest for 1 full year on your AC unit. Stay cool all summer long at legacyheating.ca. Cam Tait, a longtime journalist in our city, of course, Cam's in a wheelchair, has cerebral palsy, has always wanted to be on the radio, but due to that, was unable to, except for now, because the wonders of radio, we're able to take Cam's words and they come in this voice. Here is the 2-minute warning with Cam Tait.
Jason, how are you on this positive Friday? How are the crops looking around New Sarepta swathing? Maybe never drove a swather, but it's on my bucket list. But there ain't, love saying, ain't on the radio enough time to talk about farming because there's so much going on in the sports world. Like over there at the house, you know what I mean? The house in the River Valley, Remax Field. There you go. Edmonton Riverhawks. They're in the playoffs, first ever postseason game. Way to go, Riverhawks. The Bellingham Bells, they will be in the first baseline dugout. Now, because of travel issues, there's only one game in Edmonton of the 2 out of 3 series. Now, if you've been to a Riverhawk game, you know it's a party-type atmosphere. Lots going on. Lots of entertainment. And that's way cool. But really, the bat that stirs the grand slam home run is baseball, right? No baseball, no party, right? And playoffs bring new excitement and new opportunities. For the first time in 3 years, the Riverhawks are in the dance. So fans might want to pay attention to every pitch, catch, run, steal, and foul. It's go time, baby. And there won't be any time for the Riverhawks to go out after the game. No. The second game of the series is Sunday back in Bellingham. So as Riverhawks general manager Steve Hogle said the team's travel budget is thrown out the window, the team is chartering a plane Sunday for Game 2 in Bellingham Joe Martin Field. 1220 Civic Fieldway, Bellingham 850 kilometers from Edmonton. And if you want to get your tickets for Saturday, you might want to do it now. As in right now, Hogle said right around 9:20 this morning, 6,000 tickets were gone. Then Sunday evening, 5 o'clock start for the Elks game. The BC Lions are in town looking for their score of any kind since July 21. July 21, their grandpa, that, July 21, because the Lions, they didn't do so well, got beat. Big time. 25-0. Ouch. So, Sunday, the Elks in Treeford, fresh off their first win of the year against the Rough Riders of Saskatchewan A&B. Your 2-minute warning, whether you want it or not. Monday, Friday, Gregor Show, Sports 1440.
Riverhawks, you know what? They've done a great job on the field, but also in the marketing side, as fans love going to the games. And their final home game of the season had over 7,000. They sold out for the Canada game earlier this year, and I think they're probably going to get pushed close to that by the time the first pitch gets going on Saturday night. And it's playoffs, man. The intensity a little bit higher. I'm curious to see what they'll do for their in-game presentation. I thought they've really done a great job of just kind of incorporating the fans, that they like the event. I'll tell you this: if you have kids, you go to the game. A lot of the kids, the best part of the game for them is after the game. They run on the field. They have so many unique activities. It's not just running on the field anymore. Like the last game, now it was really hot. I think it was 32 or 33, and they had slip and slides. They had bouncy castles. They had a sprinkler just going on in the outfield, because like a normal sprinkler that you would turn on to water the field, keep it. Well, they just turn it on afterwards, and the kids were running through. They thought it was unbelievable. And then they have these guys on the motorized thick unicycle, and they pull kids around in a cart, and they're going pretty quick, and the kids were loving it. There's so much fun after the game activity. So if you do go, be sure that you don't leave early, and you take your kids down onto the field afterwards, because they will very much like it. It'll be great. So enjoy. Hey guys, do you know how long Vernon Adams is out? Do you think there's any chance the Elks could catch the Lions if they go into a tailspin? Wow, there's long ways to go for that right now. The Elks have won one. Obviously, if they're going to catch them, you got to beat them. So if they win, then they would have 2 wins. BC would still be at 5. So they'd be 3 wins back, basically 6 points back with half a season to go. I guess it's possible. If all of a sudden, now Vernon Adams, we had Rick Campbell on, and he says he's week to week, and there's some thoughts from other reporters in BC that they think he'll only miss 1 week, but that remains to be seen. Does he come back against Winnipeg? We'll find out. So the Elks just got to win, right? Obviously, they're the only team that's yet to have a home victory this season. I think that would be a great start. I've always said it. Like, you want wins. Watching it on TV for fans was great. But for those who pay and come to the game, there's just a different feeling when you leave the stadium after a victory. And I think it is imperative that they start picking up some victories at home. Utterly imperative to do. So, let's see. More text coming in our email inbox. 833-401-1440. 833-401-1440. Hey, guys, I'm curious about the delay on Holloway and Broberg's contracts. If there's really no negotiating power, why wouldn't they get it done? You can't tell me it's just about Draisaitl, as that one comes in from DP. I agree with you on your last statement, DP. It wouldn't just be about Draisaitl. It's not like the GM has all the hours in the day and 100% of it is dedicated to Draisaitl. Like, there's multiple guys who can negotiate contracts for your team. Right? Stan Bowman does it. I know lots of assistant GMs who are part of negotiations. Right? Bill Scott's been part of them in the past. So I would agree with you. It's a little odd. It's not unnerving. I want to say that. But having spoke to players in the past, the longer you go in the offseason without a contract, even though you're an RFA, and you know what? It's not like the Oilers don't want them. Right? It's not like you're a UFA who's unsigned, because there's no guarantee you will get signed. But an RFA at this point, 2 young guys like that, they're going to get signed. So I would look at Why it hasn't happened, I don't have an answer. I did speak to an agent, but this was like 3 weeks ago. I don't claim to be an insider. I'm not calling guys all the time. And that's what you have to do if you want to do well in that job. It's not my thing. And at the time, agent was very confident the deal would get done, but never gave me a timeline. So I don't know, maybe they're not that stressed out about it. But I do know, having spoke to many players, there's just something, we get it. Like, you know exactly where you're going to be. It's a comfort level. So yes, I think the sooner the better for Holloway and Broberg to get a deal done. It would be better. But I also don't think there's any risk in them not being here to start training camp. I would probably put that at like 0. But I guess, I'll give it a 0.1% chance because you're telling me there's a chance that they couldn't show up. I guess that's always possible, but I wouldn't do it. Just after 3 o'clock, let's get to the comment and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by the 7th annual Oilers Nation Golf Tournament. It goes Friday, 3 weeks from today at Millwoods. There's still a few spots if you want to come in. I'm telling you, it is a great time. Loads of fun, lots of good prizes to win, tons of sports fans here at Sports 1440 and Oilers Nation, and some pretty cool prize packs. And you can make me pay money if you're a good golfer. If you think you're a better golfer than me, there's a pretty good chance you'll make me have to pay money. So you can sign up at nationgear, GEAR.ca.
The Sports 1440 update.
Canada's men's 4x100-meter relay team has claimed gold in Paris. Andre DeGrasse running the anchor leg. The Canadian team, which also included Aaron Brown, Jerome Blake, and Brendan Rodney, improved on the silver medal they won back in Tokyo. Canadians Katie Vincent and Sloan McKenzie claimed bronze in the women's doubles 500-meter sprint canoe final. And right now we've got beach volleyball gold medal action. Brandy Wilkerson and Melissa Humana-Parody taking on Brazil right now. They are down 1-0, leading 3-2 in the second. Major League Baseball tonight, Vlad Guerrero Jr. looking to make it 20 straight games with a hit as they host the Athletics. First pitch set for 5:07. You'll also have the Angels taking on the Nationals, the Astros up against the Red Sox, Brewers host the Reds, Guardians take on the Twins in Game 2 of their doubleheader. The Twins won Game 1 4-2. Giants, Tigers, Pirates, Dodgers, and the Mariners taking on the Mets. Rangers and Yankees postponed due to rain in New York. They'll make that one up tomorrow in a doubleheader. We've got playoff baseball in town tomorrow as the Edmonton Riverhawks host the Bellingham Bells. That one will get going just after 7 o'clock. In the CFL, Week 10 rolls on tonight as Calgary takes on Toronto. That one getting going at 5:30. You got the Elks in action this weekend hosting the BC Lions. Kickoff 5 o'clock from Commonwealth. In the NFL, 3 preseason games tonight. Dolphins host the Falcons, the Texans in Pittsburgh, and the Ravens welcome the Eagles to M&T Bank Stadium. Coming up in hour 2 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by the voice of the BC Lions, Bob Marjanovich, as well as Willie Donich will join us as we discuss the offseason for the Nashville Predators. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Today is Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
Gather around the radio, kiddies, for the best time of day. It's Oodle Noodle time. Listen in this week as your noodle hero battles the barbarous Bobby Burger. Now sing along. You know the words.
Oodle Noodle time. Oodle Noodle time.
You know what time it is now. Get up and give me your best Oodle Noodle dance. Your best time of day is Oodle Noodle time.
Hey Leduc, it's me, Grant Fedor from Leading Edge Physiotherapy. What you might not know is that I started practicing physio here in Leduc more than 23 years ago. In those years since, I haven't forgotten the kind and welcoming people that trusted me then. Feels great to be back, but I know we have to live up to our promise, and that's to live up to our name. This means bringing a leading edge focus on our environments, technology, communities, and the people who will care for you, like Graham Raymond and Amanda McIsaac, 2 locals who want to make a difference in your life. We're now open in Leduc. Learn more about us at leadingedgephysio.com.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
The Junior Prospects Hockey League is entering its third season of gameplay. The JPHL now offers academic and athletic opportunities in the 14U, 15, 17, and 18U age divisions. All JPHL games are broadcast live on Silent Ice TV with a showcase-style game schedule and high level of travel and accommodations for its team, staff, and players. To learn more about why the JPHL is the fastest-growing elite hockey academy stream in Western Canada, visit juniorprospectshockeyleague.com.
Now, all sizes of premium roast coffee at McDonald's have a new low price starting at $1 plus tax for a small. It's great if you love great tasting coffee. $1 small premium roast coffee every single day. Must be McCafe. Plus tax at participating restaurants in Canada. Excludes delivery.
Summer adventures are more fun in a new Mitsubishi from Cross Mitsubishi.
Home of the largest 2024 Mitsubishi inventory in Western Canada.
All this month, get 0% financing on all 2024 Mitsubishi models.
Plus, get up to a $3,000 trade-in bonus.
And double the loyalty rebate for all existing Mitsubishi owners, up to $1,000.
Visit Cross Mitsubishi today and drive your ambition.
9605 34th Avenue and crossmitsubishi.ca.
Just after 3 o'clock on a positive Friday on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube and Facebook. How are you doing? Jason Gregor, Connor Halley. Gregor Show is always presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website where 100% of the revenue stays right here in the province. PlayAlberta.ca. And tonight, Lotto Max, $70 million and 37 Max Millions. Get your tickets at playalberta.ca. Good luck. The Elks, hey, they'll be going for win number 2 on the season and maybe their first winning streak of the year on Sunday night when they host the BC Lions, who will come to Edmonton without their starting quarterback. Vernon Adams got banged up last weekend when they were shut out. And man, their offense did a whole lot of nothing last weekend against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. So I would expect they'd be a little bit angry. We'll see what they got. Let's get to our football report, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Home to no payments, no interest for 1 year in your AC unit. Stay cool all summer long at legacyheating.ca. And longtime writer, radio host, podcaster. We just call him, he's so popular, you just call him the Moj from BC. Moj, how you doing?
Well, first off, 20 minutes notice. What happened? Farhand canceled on you or something? And the second thing, hearing Brass Bonanza brings back some great memories because every time we had Ferraro on for our segment,
yeah,
that was what we played him in with, was Brass Bonanza. So love the old Hartford Whalers team. Brings back some great memories.
Oh, every positive Friday, buddy. As I grew up a Whalers fan, so it's you know what, we brought it into the show about a decade ago, and so people like it on a Friday. They usually know that when they hear the brass, that means the weekend is almost here. So
there you go.
That is good. And
Pavlov's dog type thing, right? Pavlov's bell or whatever with the dog.
Yeah, that's right. I like it. Well, you've covered the league a long time, man. Shutouts are hard, and like it's really hard not to score a point in the CFL. What happened to because it wasn't that they just scored a point, like they barely got 120 yards in offense.
I don't know what happened that night. I mean, Winnipeg has a good defense, don't get me wrong, but BC's got some weapons on offense. It's not like their offense was inept. 4 first downs, 120 yards, no points. I don't know what happened. It's just Winnipeg came out, played with a lot more aggression, they had a pretty good game plan. BC couldn't adjust. I think one of the things, too, that really hurt the Lions is they kept getting caught in these 2nd and 10 situations, right? And that's something that Rick Campbell and his staff emphasized this week is on offense. They got to get, particularly with Jake Dolegala at quarterback, they got to get more manageable 2nd down situations, 2nd and 4, 2nd and 5. But, man, last week, that one was extremely difficult to comprehend and explain.
Yeah, it was odd to watch, to just see them struggle. Like, literally, there's just nothing's happening. I've seen teams get shut out where usually, they'll march down the field and they have an ill-advised fumble here or there, but there was none of that. Like, I give them credit in Winnipeg, but it's the CFL. You should be able to muster up more offense than that.
And I mean, again, the Bombers played well and they got a good defense, but the Lions made them look like the 85 Bears. So it was just a bad day at the office, as Rick Campbell said, and hopefully this week they can turn it around and get a win in Edmonton, although that's not going to be easy. I know Edmonton only has one win, and I know a lot of people have been down on the team throughout the course of the year, but they've been competitive, man. They've been in every game just about, single-score games, and they got a little juice now with Trey Ford at quarterback, so it's going to be interesting come Sunday.
Yeah, it will. So let's talk about Vernon Adams. How concerned are you? We had Rick Campbell on said week to week, which could mean anything. What are you hearing, Moj, and how much of a concern is this for the Lions?
I talked to Vernon today at practice. I'm not expecting him to be back next week, but, in talking to VA, and Coach Campbell said this, and Vernon mentioned it as well, it could have been a lot worse. It's not. And I'm probably, if I had to guess, I would probably say 3 to 4 weeks, probably in that range, maybe give or take a week or two. We'll see. And that's anything official from the team. That's just kind of me guessing. But yeah, it's an opportunity for Jake Dolegala to come in, next man up. He did some good things last year with Saskatchewan, had his season high passing against the Lions. That went a long way, and the Lions going out there and signing him. And as Campbell said, he goes, in this league, you're going to need two quarterbacks at some point, and the Lions are at that point right now.
When you look at the Elks and the own organization couldn't get out of their own way and not wanting to play Trey Ford, it's bothered me for 2 years. And I don't like to beat a dead horse, but I'll be pounding this horse into the ground repeatedly because it was moronic that he wasn't playing. He comes in, their offense is great. That's balanced. They can run the ball. You know what? He was 18 of 22 for 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. And I look at BC's defense, Moj. How do you expect that they will approach Trey Ford, who is maybe the most athletic quarterback in the league?
Yeah, I mean, they had a pretty good game plan against them last year, and they wound up winning that football game. So I think they're going to look at that recipe for success. And the big thing is for me, and in talking to John Bowman, their D-line coach this week, is just maintaining your gaps, maintaining your pass rush lanes, being disciplined. And it's interesting because, say if you're coming off the edge, you can't come in too flat because if you do, he'll bounce outside. If you come too far upfield, he's just going to fold underneath you and crack that seam. So you have to be really disciplined in your approach, and you have to attack him almost like a 4 or 5 man unit if you're going to blitz. So for me, that's something that the Lions did well last year. And don't kid yourself either. Run defense just necessarily isn't about the defensive linemen and the linebackers. The secondary has to get involved as well in terms of secondary contain and force. So they have to do their job as well. It's going to have to be a total team effort against Trey Ford. And there was a play last year when they played him, and it just exemplified what they did. And I remember this play vividly. Ford kind of bounced it outside. Defensive end kind of made him flatten out. He flattened out. Secondary came up, provided that secondary contained, cut back inside, and he cut back right inside to a linebacker who was filling. So to me, that's what they need. They need that entire defensive unit containing Ford and doing a number on him.
When you look at the Lions offense now on Sunday without Vernon Adams, are we going to see even more of Steinbeck? Like, do you think they're going to try to run the ball? Or are they going to do a lot of play action, some screens to him? How do you think this offense is going to be able to move the ball without Adams?
Well, I think number one, they're going to run the football. I mean, last week against Winnipeg, I don't think they ran the first 4 series, might even been the first 5 series. So that's one thing that you're going to have to do is you're going to have to get William Stanback involved in the game. So when I look at the Lions offense, to me, and again, Campbell talked about it, getting him into more manageable second down situations. The one thing about Jake Dolegala, and if you watch film on him, the book on him is that he's not extremely accurate, but he does throw a nice deep ball. So maybe there'll be some play action where they try to take a strike and go home run. But the other thing too that's really interesting, Jason, if you watch a lot of CFL this year, we're seeing just an abundance of these little hitch screen passes out in the flat where the receiver catches the ball, and it's a 2-yard catch and he makes it into a 15-yard gain with 13 yards after the catch. A lot of teams are doing that. And I talked to TJ Lee from the Lions. I said, what's up with that? He goes, they're testing DBs and their tackling skills, right? So you get 3-on-3 or 4-on-4 situations out in those flats. Now you got to make a play, right? And it's forcing DBs to get physical and make plays. So that'll be another weapon that maybe the Lions try to utilize and try to expose with the Elks.
Woj, what did you make of the finish last night between the Rough Riders and the Red Blacks?
Oh, man. If you followed my Twitter account, you know how I feel about the command center. It's comical. It really is. And what I mean by that, this is such a great league. You have such great people involved with it. But what's happening with this whole command center issue, it's first off, I know the people in Saskatchewan are going nuts because of what happened at the end of the game. But in talking to people around the Lions today, the gist of it was there was more of an issue they had with that PI that was called against Ottawa that wasn't called PI on the field. They went to the command center and they overturned it.
Yeah.
And I know David Sanchez talked about it on the panel, and he got into with Enoch Mwamba. But for me, that was, how can you call that PI? You're not calling it on the field. If you're slowing it down frame by frame by frame, is that enough? Is that egregious enough for you to overturn the call that was made on the field? Right?
Yeah.
To me, I had a bigger issue with that one than I did with the last play at the game. But here's the thing: we saw with Calgary and Winnipeg too, where there was no PI called on the field with I think it was Cramdy and somebody else got tangled up, or pardon me, somebody got tangled up with one of the Winnipeg receivers, and they wound up calling PI, and Winnipeg extends the drive and goes down and marches and scores the game-winning touchdown. There's too many calls in by the command center that are greatly impacting the game. The 50-50 calls that really shouldn't be calls, but they're turning them into calls.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think at times it seems like the command center wants to officiate the game all of a sudden.
Yeah, exactly. And I think Davis made a great point on the panel, and I agree with him. The command center should be there, to change calls where there's been an egregious error by the official, right? Yeah. If you're kind of nitpicking on plays and you're saying, well, I mean, my first issue with the command center is if it's taking you 4 minutes to look at this thing, stay with the call on the field, right? Because that's telling you right there, if you're taking that much time to look at it, you don't even know. Well, if you don't know, then how can you make a call, right? Yeah. How can you make a decisive call on a play if it's taking you 5 minutes to figure it out?
Bob the Moj Marjanovich joins us talking CFL. The BC Lions in town on Sunday to take on the Edmonton Elks. Do you have faith, Moj, that Randy Ambrosie as commissioner could make the changes necessary to command center?
I hope so. And I think I do. But certainly changes have to be made. I don't think you could continue down this path because it's hurting your brand. Right? It's hurting consumer confidence in your brand. There are longtime CFL fans, if you go on social media, that are just throwing their arms up in the air and saying, what is this? And for people that are new to the league, man, again, they're looking at this situation and going, what's going on in this game? There's like twice last night where the game was over. Teams thought that they had won. Corey Mason made a great point. It's like you think the game's over all of a sudden, and you've got to get back into game mode after you're sitting on the sideline smiling and laughing with the guy that you're playing against. Man, it's tough. Mm-hmm. Right. So I agree with people in that sense that there has to be a change. Something has to be done. I would prefer to see the command center only be utilized on challenges. Right. If there's a challenge, a coach challenge, you go to the command center. But when they kind of step in and make these calls, I'm not a fan of it. And here's the other thing too, is if it's a bad enough call on the field, the coach will challenge it. So let the command center handle challenges and nothing else.
To me, that's how it should be all the time. And I'm trying to think of other places that, I know, the last 2 minutes in the NFL and stuff like that they will come in and, everything's reviewable automatically. So, but everything, they just review everything. It's not like, oh, well, we're not sure. Cause I'm not even like, just cause it's a knockdown doesn't mean that's reviewable. You know what I mean? And so I didn't like how it was handled. It was funny. I kind of thought like neither team deserved to win or lose. So I look at it and say, hey, a tie was probably fitting, as crazy as that is to say. Neither team really lost at the end of the day. So, we kind of move forward. Well, what do you make of the overall league itself? And like, is there a best team right now in the CFL?
Okay, first up, I want to answer one question and just make a comment on the command center, and then I'll get to your question. The thing that drives me nuts about the command center, and I was just thinking about this, is when the command center interjects, there's no call on the field. And then they'll show the replay where a guy's, his hand scrapes across the guy's face mask.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't bad enough on the field for a referee to throw or an official to throw a flag. Yet the command center sees this contact where, a hand scrapes by a guy's face mask and it's a roughing the passer penalty.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, stop it.
Yeah.
Now, getting to your question, I would say to me, there's one team that's elite, Montreal Alouettes. After the Alouettes, man, it's take your pick, right? I mean, the Lions, maybe there's a little bit of recency bias with the Lions losing their last 2 games. Maybe they should be ahead of other teams, but the Lions, Saskatchewan, don't go to sleep on Winnipeg. They're going to get healthier. They are who they are. I don't think they're going to be as good as they have been in the past, but they'll still be a team that can compete. And don't go to sleep on the Elks. I mean, that team has been a competitive team the entire year, right? So I'm looking at the league and I'm saying to myself, Montreal, and then no one's really established themselves after that.
Moj, always going to catch up with you, buddy. I appreciate it. Before I let you go, what has been your Olympic go-to watch this year?
I just wrote a column today for Black Press on that very topic. And I'll be honest, I've barely watched the Olympics. I've watched the highlights.
Really?
And it's interesting because I used to love the Olympics, right? I was so into the Olympics when I was younger and this and that. And the big turning point for me was allowing pros coming into the Olympics. And I'm sorry, like Scotty Scheffler winning Olympic gold in golf doesn't move the needle for me, right? It just doesn't. LeBron James and company, it doesn't. But, hey, it's like Big Daddy David Pratt used to say back in the 1040 days, if you want the truth, follow the money. And the money's in TV revenues, right? So people are watching LeBron. People are watching Scotty Scheffler. You're bringing more eyeballs to the event. But, there's a part of me that really misses the days when it was about amateurs having their day in the sun, their moment to show what they can do in terms of athletes and their stories being told. I know LeBron James' story. I don't want to hear it again, right? So the Olympics has kind of lost me. But that being said, I'm probably a little bit more attached to the Winter Olympics because it's a little bit more condensed and a little bit, obviously a lot smaller than the Summer Olympics in terms of disciplines.
Yeah, it's funny. I didn't watch one. I don't think I watched one shot of Scheffler. But I have watched like track and field I love. And I know the Diamond League, they're professionals, but swimming had me riveted. I've been watching synchronized swimming for goodness sakes. Judo, fencing, like the hammer throw was unreal. Like BC's the hotbed right now in Kamloops when it comes to hammer throw. So I just choose not to watch the NBA guys because I'm like, well, I can watch them all the time or golf, but I really focus on the other stuff. And I've found myself quite enjoying it.
The other thing too that scares me. The other thing that scares me, Jason, if I do start watching it, I might just get totally hooked again, and more so on the amateurs than say the professionals.
Watch it. Yes. Yeah. You won't regret it. I'll tell you that. You won't regret it. Go turn it on. Canada's in the final of beach volleyball, Moj, right now.
You really are tempting me now, aren't you?
Have a good one, my man. Enjoy the game.
Hey, don't be a stranger. Next time, phone me when I don't care what happens with Farhan. Just give me a call.
Farhan did, just so for the record, Cons, he didn't call Farhan. It actually was supposed to be Jerry's Jackson, to tell you truthful. And then he had an extra meeting. Lame. But
I got you.
So,
all right, man. Have yourself a great weekend.
You betcha, buddy. Have a good one.
Goodbye.
That's Bob the Moj Marjanovich. Really, that guy knows CFL for a long time. And I'm curious for how many of you, if you were watching the overtime last night and what you thought of that game, Saskatchewan and Ottawa, because I don't think it was handled nearly as well. And I do think that the command center is trying to overreach what their purpose is. The goal is to, if there's blatant calls that are wrong, to get them fixed. That's it. Not questionable calls, not, well, geez, I'm not sure. That happens every game. You know how many 50-50 decisions, 50-50 balls happen all the time. We don't need this. But my concern is I don't believe that the commissioner has the nuts to change it. That's just what I think. Quick break. We'll come back. Man, it's like rumor Friday. We got a lot of rumor texts coming in at 833-401-1440. We'll get to those when we return to the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
I take possession of my commercial space in 3 months. I need lighting. I need a fire alarm. I need data. I need a generator. I need panels.
Sounds like a job for the electric.
Projects team reporting. Design, build, and construct all the electrical systems for your projects. Everything to work right. Get the Action Electrical Project team on your site.
Faithing in electric. All the men and women of action. Operate throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
Mr. Rooter builds a portfolio.
Now, Mr. Rooter, I suggest we invest heavily in the S&P.
What's that? Sewers and plumbing? I agree.
No, actually...
And what do you think of precious metals?
Yes, gold is a very...
Don't buy copper. You see, copper pipes have widely been replaced by polyethylene.
Sure. Also, Bitcoin...
Bitcoin? I snick enough of those out of toilets on my own, thank you very much.
For a plumber with good dividends, call Mr. Rooter.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk. Elevate your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Your Edmonton Elks host the BC Lions for Country Day. Yeah! Before the game, there'll be country music and tailgate, a petting zoo for the kids, and cowpokes can ride the mechanical bull to win prizes. Tickets and more at GoElks.com.
Move Water is your one-stop shop for all things water. From freshwater to wastewater, we've got the pumps and solutions to keep your water moving where it matters most.
Move Water, your water solution experts.
Visit movewater.ca today.
#28 on a positive Friday. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you as we roll through. Donovan just putting in a shift today. He's helping out on the digital side of things. I think he's, I don't know how many coffees he's had today, but probably a few. So good shift for the D-man. He'll have earned a beer by the end of the day. No question about that. Hey, guys, is it true that the Silent Ice boys are purchasing the Elks? No. Actually, saw Dan LeKelt recently, and I can tell you 100% that no, they are not purchasing the Edmonton Elks. Probably he owns lots of teams right now, WHL and BCHL and many other places. They got lots going on. So hey, you know what? It's good that people think that you're worthy of owning the team. So it's good. They've done pretty well with their organizations. They'd probably do all right. Not if they know anything about football, though. This thing. Hockey? Well, that's debatable. No, I'm kidding. Smart guys, though. Smart guys. You don't sell your business for that much without being fairly bright, I would think. 329. Let's go around the NHL. Brought to you by McDonald's, where right now it is summertime and it is hot. $1 ice cream cone, $2 sundaes, $2 milkshakes all summer long at all local area McDonald's. And remember, every time you have a cone or a milkshake or whatever, a portion of it's always going to help out the Ronald McDonald House. Fantastic jewel in our city that does so much to help people. And it's funded all by the local McDonald's franchisees. We go around the NHL today, and we're stopping in a place they call Smashville. It's really Nashville, to talk about the Predators. And, man, they've definitely made a splash in the offseason. How big of a splash? I guess we'll have to wait until the games come, as Willie Doncic joins us from Nashville. Willie, welcome back to the show, man. How you doing?
I'm doing well, guys. Good to catch up.
Yeah, you too. Man, when you look at off seasons in the history of the Nashville Predators, this probably has been the biggest splash they've ever made. Is that fair?
I think it's fair. I think the only two other things that come to mind for me would be when Paul Kariya signed with the Predators after the lockout in, I guess that would have been 2005.
Yeah.
And that was a little later in the summer, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was a huge moment. That put them on the map, really. They had never been that competitive. They had barely made the playoffs once in their sixth year. Then there was a whole year off, and so there was a whole question of whether Nashville could survive. Then you have a salary cap, and you have Paul Kariya, and since then they've been a very different franchise. So that would be one. And then the other summer of the Shea Weber for PK Subban swap,
right,
in 2016. That was a big day. But I think this is right there with it, with all the things they did on July 1st.
Yeah, and I would argue, like, the Shea Weber Subban trade. I don't know if I would argue Montreal probably at the end got the better of that deal just because of how Weber played, and I know he ended up finishing his career. But Subban, outside of 1 year, didn't live up to what they wanted. But you look at the guys they signed this season in Nashville, and Steven Stamkos, Jonathan Marchessault, Brady Shea. They come in and they all signed. The other thing is not only get money, but they all signed 4-year deals. So not crazy long, but long enough. And to say, hey, we kind of know who's going to be adding into our core with Forsberg and Yossi and Saros. They kind of have that now. Who's going to be the second line center, Willie? That's my major question. Who's ready? Is Novak the guy in your eyes?
I think he's probably going to get the first crack. And that will be a major theme going into the preseason, I think, is who to match up with these new guys that they have. They actually scored more goals, or at least equal the amount of goals that they had ever scored in a season before. You have to go back to the Paul Kariya era. And if you guys remember, outside of that, after that lockout, goal scoring went up. They called every penalty. There was a ton of power play goals. But last year, and obviously this is more of a scoring era, but that team, even though they sort of lacked some firepower, that's probably the wrap on that. They still scored as many goals as any Predator team has in history. But that is going to be the question, is how do you make the pieces fit with these two 40-goal scorers that they've added? And I do think Tommy Novak will get the first shot. He had a very good season. He is a late bloomer that they re-upped. They probably had some pretty good options to trade him at the trade deadline. They liked, I think, what was out there, but the team was on an absolute roll. And so they kept him, they re-upped, and then he did not have a good playoff series at all against Vancouver in that series that was razor's edge kind of tight. And so that's going to be the question of Novak going forward, is can he take another step forward? I do think he's a good playmaker. I think he's an excellent hockey IQ guy offensively. He's got some weaknesses defensively, but all that saying, I think he's the best option they have right now in the middle.
You go back to that series against Vancouver, and their power play killed them, right? I think Nashville, if you look, they're going to look and say, man, if we just scored a power play goal or two, we win that series. So you bring in Steven Stamkos, who knows a thing or two about scoring on the man advantage. Outline how you view this power play, and just that alone might be the difference that Stamkos can make for them in a playoff series next year.
Well, I agree. That series, if you look at the complete aggregate score, it was 13-12. And so every game was so close. And if you listen to Andrew Burnett, and I would agree with this assessment, having watched every second of it, is he said there were about 3.5 minutes that defined that series. The Predators had 2 games that they had the lead. They felt like they had control, but of course that's all relative because they were all, very tight games, and it turned in a hurry. So a big play here or there by a Stamkos or a Marchessault, in theory, could make a big difference on the margins if they can get back there and have another chance. So yeah, the power play is going to be big. The thing about it is during the regular season, their first 5 clicked pretty well. They didn't have a bad power play in the regular season. And a big part of that would be Gus Nyquist, who is going to be age 35. He did a lot of little things. He was a guy that sort of was the entry man, got him set up. And in theory, to put Marchessault and Stamkos in on the first unit, somebody pretty good is going to have to come off. And that in theory could be Nyquist.
Okay.
So it may take a while to work itself out. And Andrew Brunette has kind of said as much. He's the guy that runs the power play. So he's probably spent a lot of nights since July 1st, mapping out different scenarios on how he can make the pieces fit.
Willie Donkin joins us as we preview the Nashville Predators and a huge offseason for them. On the blue line, they've got their 6 guys. I think they're fairly set. Do they have any other youngsters that are ready to push for an NHL roster spot this season?
Well, it depends on if you consider Spencer Stastny a newcomer. He played in a handful of games last year. He was very effective. He is another guy that, a little bit like an Alex Carrier, was a mid-round draft pick that took a little longer to develop, but has really come on. He's an elite skater. He's not a huge skilled defenseman, but his mobility fits very well with Andrew Brunette's system. So I think he's a guy that they feel like could take a big step. I don't think he's going to be playing top 4 minutes, but I think he has a very good chance of being a regular. The guy they're most excited about in the long term, and he'll be only 19 this coming year, would be Tanner Molendyk, who they got as the first round pick in the Matthias Ekholm swap that they hope will be a good deal for both teams. Obviously, it's working out very well for the Oilers. Ekholm being such a classy, excellent, solid player. He's done everything the Oilers, I would think, hoped he would do. And for the Predators, Molendyk has turned out to be, I think, probably their best long-term defense prospect right now. I don't know if he's going to figure in this year. It's a tough dilemma because he's one of those guys that's probably too good for juniors. They can't put him at Milwaukee. So what do you do with him? That'll be an intriguing thing to watch.
Yeah. What about the division? Dallas, Colorado, Winnipeg, Minnesota is always pretty competitive, even though they got a big disadvantage for one more year in salary cap situation. St. Louis was 92-point team who didn't make the playoffs. Where do you see the Preds right now? And I know that it's August and, one injury can change a lot of it, Willie, but where do you view the Preds as far as a standing within the division when the season begins?
Well, I think when you're in the Central, life is usually pretty tough. It's usually pretty deep. There's not a lot of difference between teams 1 and 5. And I think more years than not, I'd have to go back and look, but it's not uncommon at all for both wild cards to come out of the Central. So I think it looks like a very deep division again. I feel like Nashville now thinks that they've taken a step forward because here's the other part. They had 99 points last year, and I think objectively it was UC Saros' worst year as a starter since he took over for Pekka Rinne. And that's saying something because it's not like he was bad, but for the standards that he sets, I don't think he, especially for the first half of the season in particular, was the UC Saros that everybody expects him to be. So I think if you get a little bit of a bounce back from him and you get, what at least some of what you hope for with the new guys, Stamkos and Marchessault, I think that they can take a pretty good step forward and hopefully be in the discussion with the heavyweights, Colorado, Dallas, the teams you expect to be at the top of the division.
Yeah. Willie, I have to ask you, with the Olympics going on, what sports are you most appealed by?
In the Olympics?
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned that because I do a sports talk show during the middle of the day, and that is right in the wheelhouse of when all the live events are going down. So we're seeing in real time some of the big performances. And so I've definitely dove in. Yesterday, in particular, the basketball, the comeback that they made against Serbia was quite the performance, because had they lost that game, it would have been probably a major topic. It's like you're supposed to win. So if you don't win, it's a big story. I thought it was just a great sporting event. So that would be one. And then I think the track and field and the swimming are two things that I always seem to gravitate towards.
Oh, God, yeah. They're fantastic to watch. Highly entertaining. Willie, great stuff. We look forward to seeing that. I know the Preds are going to be a team that a lot of people will be watching, and to see kind of how Stamkos and Marcia Show and Shea fit in, and does it push them into the cup contender category? We shall see.
Yeah, that's the hope. That's the hope. There's some hungry fans here that are, the team has made the playoffs. I have to go back and look at it exactly, but I think it's like 14 out of 18 years. But
yeah,
the fans are hungry to have some playoff series wins. That's the thing that's been missing, and I think they're really pleased with what Barry Trotz has done in a 2-year span to go from being sort of, what are we doing? Are we rebuilding? Are you breaking it down to build it back up, to all of a sudden, hey, are they contenders? So only time will tell.
Awesome stuff, Willie. Have a great day, my man.
All right. Thanks, guys.
There you go. That's Willie Donich joining us from Nashville. Where do you come on the Preds? Are you a believer? Like, have they elevated themselves into the upper tier in the West? So if you would put Edmonton, Dallas, Colorado, Vancouver, if those are your top four, would Dallas be right there? Are they ahead of Vegas? Are they behind Vegas? Is Vegas ahead of Vancouver? I'm curious kind of what would be now that you see the rosters, and I know that there could be slight changes. There's still a few UFAs, and somebody's going to sign the other guy here or there, but I don't think there's going to be significant changes. So I'd be curious on where you rank them. Edmonton, Dallas are 1-2 in my eyes. I don't think there's much debate on that. After that, Vancouver, they're pretty solid. Right? Like the Oilers said, that was the hardest series for them. Now that's a matchup that's hard for the Oilers. And I also wonder about the regular season ass kickings that Vancouver gave to Edmonton and how much that might have played into a little bit in their psyche. But like Nashville, Colorado's got some question marks, so maybe they can't even be in the top tier yet. We got to see what happens with Landeskog, Nichushkin, etc. So that's why I don't have them in the top two. What about Winnipeg? So where would you rank these teams? 833-401-1440 in our eWell inbox.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is your supplier of maximum comfort, bringing you the cool AC you need. You just have to call Legacy. Call Legacy. For comfort at night when the hot air suffocates you. Call Legacy. Call Legacy. For comfort in your wallet with no payments or interest for 1 year. Call Legacy. Call Legacy. You deserve comfort. Cool off today with AC from Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Why tee off at the Ranch Golf and Country Club?
A fun, unique layout offering premier conditions. The Ranch has been ranked as one of the top public courses in Canada.
Unmatched value. Score Golf Magazine rated the Ranch as the best value in Edmonton.
The service, from tournaments to special events to the pro shop. Superior service that makes every visit exceptional.
The Ranch Golf and Country Club, a laid-back environment where anyone can enjoy an amazing day on the fairways. For details, visit theranchgolf.com.
The Brick is celebrating its 53rd birthday with fantastic deals in every department. Take up to 25% off dining and bedroom furniture and up to 40% off mattresses. And buy more, save more. Up to $400 off select major appliances. And don't forget about back-to-class favorites like desks starting at $74.95. Small appliances starting at $99 and mattresses at just $169. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
Now, all sizes of premium roast coffee at McDonald's have a new low price starting at $1 plus tax for a small. It's great if you love great tasting coffee. $1 small premium roast coffee every single day. Must be McCafe. Plus tax at participating restaurants in Canada. Excludes delivery.
You see us working on the Yellowhead. You see us working on the LRT West project over on 104th Avenue. But what are we doing? We are GS Construction, and we're moving, upgrading, and repairing all of that underground infrastructure so that other work can go on. Things like maintaining water, wastewater, and stormwater draining services. Things you may take for granted, but definitely need. For 50 years, GS Construction has been laying the groundwork for your community. Find out more by going to gsconstruction.ca.
The Toronto Blue Jays are on Sports 1440. Every weekend, catch all the action with play-by-play announcer Ben Schulman. The Blue Jays, this Saturday and Sunday on Sports 1440. Edmonton's home for all things sports.
Rule number 41, never challenge a goose in the Bow Valley. They run this town and they know it. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instance, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days. Because we all know they don't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Gregor. Connor Halley with you on Sports 1440, Orders Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. Lovely day outside. It's going to be a good weekend. Weather should be good if you're going to the Riverhawks game tomorrow, if you're going to the Elks game on Sunday. Cons, I think you have tickets to the bronze medal game.
Certainly do, yeah.
On tomorrow afternoon, if somebody wants to go to that. Also, and hey, that Canada's playing tonight. They got to win. But if they lose, then they're in the bronze medal game, correct?
Yeah.
So there's a chance, you don't want it, but there's a chance that bronze medal game might be Canada. But if you want tickets and are for sure going to use them, 100%, no question. Not like, oh, I'll use them if Canada's in. Because there's lots of people who want to go. So please don't be selfish. If you want to go 100%, the old sport analogy, 110%. If you want to do that, text in 833-401-1440. That game at 3:30 tomorrow, Cons?
It's 1:30.
1:30.
Yeah.
Okay, 1:30 tomorrow afternoon. So you could still do that and then go to the Riverhawks game if you want to double dip. But if you are a big sports fan and you want to go see the Hlinka Gretzky bronze medal game tomorrow, text in right now, 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440, and Cons will give your number. We got loads of texts to get to. Hey, guys, personally, I think Nashville is getting overrated. They drastically lack centers from Lance. Lance, it's a valid point. I think that's totally fair. Now, could they go out and get one at the deadline? Possibly. But to start the season, right, like Forsberg, Stamkos, Marchessault. Now, Ryan O'Reilly's pretty solid center. You know, Thomas Novak, he's the wild card. He has shown lots of signs of improvement every year. So he's a little bit of an unknown, right? Gustav Nyquist if he wants to play center, at times could. He's more of a winger, though. That's the thing. But he quietly had a really good year in Nashville. But I think it's fair that to say they don't necessarily have a ton of centers. Hey guys, tell me you were able to watch the beach volleyball game from HVAC Terry. It was unreal. Well, I had it on in studio. I'm hosting, but I know the con man was watching it, and you know what? Really, had Canada been able, it was 20. They had a big lead by 4 or 5 points at one point. Then it ends up being 24-24, and they lose that first set. Cons. You know, if you win it, obviously it changes everything, but that really seemed to kind of, take the wind out of their sails a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? They bounced back very strong in the second set, 121-12. So you'd think momentum. I guess you got to give some credit to the Brazilians, though. They get the job done. They win the third set 15-10. Good excitement. A bit of a controversial call from some of the more diehard volleyball fans, saying there might have been a bit of a scoop, a toss from the Brazilians.
Well, it looked like there was a little bit of chatter there at the net late in the game, though.
So there was something there that, that could have swayed things a little bit early on, but hey, heck of a run. I don't know how many people had the Canadians going as far as they did in this event, so good for them. Another silver to add to the total.
Hey, guys, just curious, what do you think about using the upper deck that's closed for advertisement? They could put banners or billboards, make extra revenue. I'm not sure how much, because how many people are looking up, right? How often are you showing the upper deck on TV? Or if there are people in the building, who's going to look up across the upper deck? So I don't think there would be a lot of revenue to be made from that. Because if I'm a sponsor, I'm like, well, who's looking up at the second deck? So I would guess probably not. Hey, guys, I think the criticism of command centers, CFL seems to be taking the human element out of the game. The excitement of the game is neutered by the ominous command center looming above, and every play is bookended by the threat that they will decide to interject with a ruling outside of the norm. Or, as highlighted more than once this year, a completely wrong interpretation of the rules. It reminds me of the NHL toe in the crease days, where a fan couldn't celebrate a goal if any player is remotely close until eye in the sky made its decision. The human element of officiating is part of the game, and officials have to be allowed to set the parameters for which they feel a penalty is appropriate. And said parameters are consistent throughout the game without being undermined or embarrassed by a command center. Haji, very well written and expressed text. I thoroughly agree with you. 100%. It is, I love how you put it. It's completely true. Stop thinking the officials have to be perfect when the players aren't perfect. And I think last night was a great example. There's no penalty on the play. It's not a blatant call. It's not a blatant miss. It's not like the Duchesne offside. It's not where, somehow you missed a blatant face mask. I don't think that's a penalty. That's not a pass. I'm sorry. I don't agree with it. So I agree with exactly what you're saying. And so what's happening now is you have some people who are like, I want to be in part of the game, even though I'm not part of the game because I can't officiate anymore. Right? They don't put people in the command center who are capable of officiating because they'd be on the field. So yes, you are bang on. It's a joke. My concern is, does the CFL have the leadership to say, okay, we've crossed the line. We've gone too far. But I'm not sure they have. And that to me is it. Hey, Gregor, so are you saying people will watch Winter Olympics with NHL players because we can see them all year? No chance. From Johnny B. Well, John, hey, Moser's the one who said he doesn't like it. I said, hey, if you don't like having the professionals in it, well, then watch all the other ones was my point. There's time. Did I watch every basketball game? No, I didn't. And there's so many events on, you can't just watch one. It's impossible. Now, I'll be honest. Would I watch every minute of Canada's prelim games if they're playing? I don't usually there's 12 teams in the tournament. I'm sorry. If they're playing Norway, no, I'm not going to watch very closely. I could watch the highlights. I could record the game and fast forward in 50 minutes and see what I need to see. Now, when they get into the playoffs, damn rights, I will watch it. But I'll watch, the play-ins. It's just like, did I watch every prelim race of the 400 or 200 meters? I did not watch every one. But they get to the semifinals and the finals, and I am locked in because you can't watch everything. So that's how I view it. I like the fact that it's best on best coming up. And what's great about basketball is, the USA for years, they dominated. And they could win the gold this year very easily. But they didn't dominate to win the gold, right? Like Steph Curry had to have one of the best games you've ever seen in the Olympics for them to win. So that's a good thing. There's becoming more parity in the world of basketball. That doesn't mean the U.S. isn't the favorite. They're still the favorite. But they're not like, oh my goodness, they're going to win every game by 35 points, the favorite. And I think that is a very good thing for basketball. Golf, though, like, I'm sorry, Scotty Scheffler, I can watch him any weekend. Is great. Like, to me, the Olympic golf tournament, was it really any different? And I don't think anybody views it more than the majors, because all the best players play each other in golf. And this one didn't even necessarily have that because there's representations of it. So it's actually different in that regard. So, yeah, that's like, I didn't watch one swing of the golf. Cons, have you?
No.
Because I can watch them all the time.
Yeah, exactly what you and Moj said. I mean, we can watch that all the time. I don't often get to see world-class sprinting, the diving, all the other sports you don't get to see.
Mm-hmm.
Same like you guys have said, though. Basketball, for me, I enjoyed watching the Canadians, but it wasn't like, I need to make sure I watch this. For me, I could go watch the replay as well. There's some things that are appointment television. Those events don't fit into that category.
Yeah. Now, when you get into the playoff round, yes, it does. Right. And that's where I kind of look at it. I don't think many people are watching all the prelim throws. Like, did I watch all the prelim throws of the hammer throw? No, but I watched the final. So I kind of, that's where I think I'd come out on hockey, because there's too many events going on, and there's always some event that, oh, this is a medal, or now they're into the quarterfinals or the semifinals. And so that matters more to me than an opening round game. Now, hockey fans might say, screw that, I'm watching hockey. And that's fair. You're entitled to. Nothing wrong with that. But for me, as a sports fan, I won't watch Canada-Norway nearly as intently as I would Canada-Sweden or Canada-US or Canada-Russia, because I know those games are going to be more competitive. At the Olympics, Norway has no chance. Now, it might be a 2-1 game, but it will only be a 2-1 game on the scoreboard. It might be a 2-1 game because Norway's goalie's standing on his head. You know what I mean? It'd be different. So that's where that's where I stand. I'm not sure about anybody else, so that's why I like to do it. Hey guys, I can't help but laugh when I command center. I'd pay money to see the actual workings in Dave's basement command center. From Hacksaw. So yeah, we'll see. We will see. Hey guys, I saw the CFLPA, Brian Ramsey, step down. Do you think there's any chance the leader of the CFL would do the same, Randy Ambrosie? No, I don't think so. Now it's been 2016, I think, for Ramsey. Like, that's a pretty long run for him. But now, I don't know how many years left Randy Ambrosie has. They're not going to pay him not to be the commissioner. But when I just look at his tenure and I say, what has gotten better under his leadership? Can you think of one thing where you say, oh, wow, that's a really good rule change, or that's been really beneficial to the league? I might have heard more talk in Randy Ambrosie's tenure about expansion than any other topic. And the fact that nothing has happened, they're not one step closer because there hasn't been one shovel put in the ground to get a facility, then I would argue it's the biggest waste of time conversation that you could have as a commissioner. Why are you spending time on it? It's not any closer at all. It's not closer. So why would we be talking about it? 4 o'clock or just before. Let's get to the Con Man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Booster Juice. And hey, they got the watermelon wave, which is tasty and lovely and scrumptious. But if you need a little boost, you might want to get the cookies and cream booster ball. It's gluten-free cookies with syrup, coconut, and almond butter. Check it out right now at Booster Juice.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Canada's men's 4x100 meter relay team has claimed Olympic gold with Andre DeGrasse running the anchor leg. The team also including Aaron Brown, Jerome Blake, and Brendan Rodney improving on their silver that they won in Tokyo. Canadians Katie Vincent and Sloan McKenzie claimed bronze for the women in the doubles 500-meter sprint canoe final, and in women's beach volleyball, Canadians Brandy Wilkerson and Melissa Humana-Paredes picked up the silver as they fell to Brazil in 3 sets. With that, Canada ties their 2020 medal count of 24. Major League Baseball today, the Jays are in action as Vlad Guerrero Jr. looks to make it 21 straight games with a hit, hosting the Athletics. First pitch just after 5 o'clock. You'll also have the Angels in Washington. Rays host the Orioles. Astros up against the Red Sox. The White Sox welcome the Cubs to Guarantee Rate Field. Battle of Chicago. Reds and Brewers. You got the Twins and Guardians meeting in Game 2 of their doubleheader. Game 1 went the way of the Twins. Giants take on the Tigers, and the Mets are in Seattle. Rangers, Yankees postponed due to rain in the Bronx. They'll make that one up with a doubleheader tomorrow. Speaking of tomorrow and baseball, we've got playoff action in the city as the Riverhawks will host the Bellingham Bells. That one gets going just after 7 o'clock. In the CFL tonight, Toronto takes on Calgary at 5:30. The Edmonton Elks are in action on Sunday down at Commonwealth, hosting the BC Lions. And in the NFL, we've got 3 games tonight. The Falcons taking on the Dolphins, Steelers host the Texans, and the Eagles in Baltimore. Coming up in hour 3 of the Jason Gregor Show, we will talk some New York Jets with Rich Cimini of ESPN.com, and we'll ask 5 questions. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, Stingray Radio Station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
The summer road lays ahead. Your potential destinations are endless. Volvo Cars Edmonton gives you choice to match. Right now, lease a 2024 Volvo XC90 from 0% for qualifying loyal customers. Or save $7,000 on all new 2024 XC60 recharge plug-in hybrid models. All demo vehicles come with a free 10-year, 1 million kilometer warranty. No matter what you decide this summer will become, your first choice is Volvo Cars Edmonton. VolvoCarsEdmonton.com, 1205 101 Street Southwest.
You adore your Audi, value your Volkswagen, baby your Beamer. But some of that love fades when repairs take several days and tons of cash for the dealership to do their magic. Let Cochran's Automotive rekindle the flame. They'll professionally repair your import, usually in one day. Audi, BMW, Mercedes, Volkswagen, Honda, and Toyota. Cochran's Automotive will return her to mint condition. Open at 7 a.m. Let Cochran's Automotive repair your automotive air conditioning before things heat up. Cochran's Automotive, 780-452-5001.
What's cracking at Cattail Crossing? Every Friday after 4 p.m., it's 9 and Dine Fridays. Includes golf for 2 with a power cart at Cattail Crossing and a $50 food voucher at Out of Bounds Restaurant. Only $119.99. Tea times can be booked at cattailcrossing.ca.
Employee pricing is on now at Chevrolet. Right now, get up to $10,500 off select Silverado 1500 High Country Crew Cab models. With an available 6.2-liter V8 engine and standard Chevrolet safety assist, including forward collision alert, getting out of the city and having a nice, quiet day on the beach is easier than ever this season. So relaxing. Ask your Chevrolet advisor for details.
Are you afraid of losing your car or home due to debt? Don't let fear or shame hold you back from seeking help. Bankruptcy is not the only option. A consumer proposal can reduce your monthly payments, lower your overall debt, and allow you to keep your assets. My name is Parveen Middleton. I'm a licensed insolvency trustee at BDO here in Edmonton. I'm here to help you tackle your debt. Take the first step towards regaining control of your finances. Call 1-833-BDO-TALK or visit bdodebt.ca to learn more.
Well, it's been a gold, silver, and bronze medal day for Canada. And with that, Canada has tied, and technically I would say beaten it. Oh, no, tied, I guess, because they have 7 gold medals, just like they had 3 years ago. technically 4. I know they call it the 2020, but we all know it was played in 2021. But the most latest Olympics where they had 24 men. Now, there's also more events. I think that's something we should mention. And we would be misleading to not mention that. But either way, 24. And there's still some medals out there for Canada to win. As we said, the Connor Halley lock of the day. I'm not sure if you can get this on playalberta.ca. I don't know. Do they have odds for the Wizard in breaking at playalberta.ca? If not, we might have to ask Rick. What's going on, Rick? The Connor Halley lock, the Wizard for Canada in breaking, which goes tomorrow morning. Cons, what time was it? 9 a.m. did you say to watch the Wizard?
I'll have to confirm on that, but they do have odds on it. Yeah,
they do.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Nice.
This is big time. Now he is not the favorite, right? It was Phil Wizard.
Yeah.
Victor is the favorite. You got a few other guys. You got Lee. You got Danny, Laquette, Amir. Quake is quite the long shot. Billy, if you're looking for a big time long shot, Billy is the big time. 100 to 1.
100 to 1 for Billy. Wow, I don't need to go that long shot. Probably it's like no shot.
How about J Attack? Got some cool names.
Oh my God, you're just into this simply for the names, aren't you?
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, well, you know what? 1 in 100. You could get in on the Lotto Max tonight. 37 million. Oh, sorry, 37 max millions and 70 million for the grand prize at playalberta.ca. We are going to talk a little Jets football coming up in about 20 minutes time. Hey guys, is there any sort of fine if you swear on the radio? Yeah, there can be, yes. Internal one, sure. There's sometimes you get a bleep out button at the right time, sometimes you don't. Depends on it. Obviously apologize if somebody's done it. I have hosted a radio show since 2001 and have never dropped an F-bomb on the air. And my friends when I first started all thought I would, because I had a propensity to drop F-bombs in real life. It's kind of lazy, really, on my part. But I can say once the microphone comes on, I've never once. And obviously, I get fired up many times over the years. But it's just, I know it's my job. I'm used to it. It would never be a consideration for me on that. So I know that we've had guests every now and then. They get emotional, they get fired up, and they drop one. And it's kind of like, are you serious right now? But you know what? It also depends kind of in the context. And I think our audience understands when somebody lets one slip that usually it's what context is it in, right? I do think context matters. But as a regular host, they're expected, they being the CRTC, that I should know better. And so if I swore, I think there'd be you'd probably get written up by CRTC at that point. I guess you'd have to have a complaint, but and there's been a few complaints. Man, we could talk about the funniest complaints over the years. Well, and the great part now is, like everything, you can go back and listen to it. It's readily available, and there's been cases where people think they heard something. They write a real long this and that email. Well, no, I never said that. Well, yes, you did. Well, here's the tape. No, I didn't. So sometimes we all at times, we think we hear something, but the person didn't actually say it, right? Happens every now and then, but there can be, yes. So that's why, none of our hosts will be dropping F-bombs. And, Cons does have a delay button at times, but can't always, it's a lot shorter here. So difficult to get to at times. So there you go.
There was one previously on Story Time. Great segment. And I remember I stepped away and someone, I forget who it was, dropped it in the most unique set of terms. It was talking about Sidney Crosby. And he did not swear for the whole interview, Gregor. And then he just said I was working out in the summer. Who do they think I am? Bleeping Crosby? Right when I went to go get water. Totally missed it. I'm sure you and Struddy this was during the pandemic, I think, wondering what's he doing back there? And just, totally missed it. He was good until that point, and then after that, I don't think I ever left the studio during a story time.
Was that
segment.
George?
I don't know if it was George. Frank, was it Frank Belois?
Frank Belois, Frank the animal Belois.
He kept me in the studio. He was great.
He kept, Cons had his hand on the buzzer because sometimes you'll be relaxed doing some other things, and then you try to reach it in time. But with Frank, it was like you were playing the game story and you were just hovering over it, waiting. Oh, here it comes. But he was actually really good. So he was actually a really good guest.
Great stories, yeah.
Yeah. So that's nice. I like it. A few other things that I've wanted to get to that I honestly, I don't think we're giving, like, the Vlad Guerrero. I understand that the Jays aren't competitive, and maybe because the Olympics are on, but what Vladimir Guerrero is doing right now, to the extent, it's not just that he has a 20-game hitting streak, because not to downplay it, but he's had a 22-game hitting streak before, so he's not even at his career best. But in his 20-game hitting streak, he has been murdering the ball. Like, he's got 36 hits in 20 games. He's hitting over. He's 36 of 70. No, sorry. What am I saying? 36. He's got, 36 of 70. 36 hits of 70. So he's batting, what is that? 511, Cons? Tell me what the exact number is on that. 36 out of 70. Is what he's batting right now. So actually, no, it's probably closer to like 504, 503 maybe. So 502 even. Either way, it's pretty damn impressive.
20-game hit streak, Gregor. He's hitting 507.
507.
10 home runs, 22 ribbies, 23 runs, 11 walks.
Yeah, how many doubles though? Doesn't he have 11 doubles too?
Take a look.
He's got 11.
Deeper look.
So he has got 11 doubles. So in the history of Major League Baseball, only 5 players at any time had a 20-game stretch where they had 35-plus hits, 10-plus home runs, 10-plus doubles, 10-plus walks. He's doing everything. He's getting on base. He's swinging for a percentage. And he's hitting over 500. And guess who he's playing? The Oakland Athletics tonight. It is, to me, that like Vladimir Guerrero, I just hope that teams, this is, and I've said it all along, the one thing I would take out of baseball in the regular season, if you want to do in the playoffs, maybe I can get down with it. But in the regular season, no intentional walks. Now I know people can say, well, Gregor, they can just, but then your pitcher, because nowadays you can just nod and he doesn't even have to waste pitches, right? It's not where, you remember they used to pitch out on guys? Well, now they don't even do that, which saves time. I get it. But I don't even think you should be allowed. You've got 162 games. So you've got a guy now that is absolutely murdering the ball. And you're going to have teams, let's walk him. What? Why? Well, it's game 112 and our team, because let's be real here. We know for the most, like there's a few playoff races open, but the Oakland Athletics have nothing to play for. The Toronto Blue Jays have nothing to play for. And I give the Baltimore Orioles, who do have lots to play for. And you know what? If you put guys on base, then it forces them to hit pitch to him. So that's nice. But I just hope we don't get down here where all of a sudden now he's getting walked and all of a sudden you only have 2 plate appearances. Try to get a hit. Makes it harder, number one, but it's not as exciting. But what he's doing right now is you just 5 times in the history of the game has a guy been this hot for a 20-game stretch. That's must-watch TV for me. When Vladdy's at the plate right now, like I wish I could have it, because I'll be honest, I don't watch every inning of major. There's too many games, number one. There's just too much. But I wish I could get like a signal to my, vibrate. Oh, Vladimir Guerrero's up. Vladdy alert. Okay. It's like if you watched an Oilers game and be like, hey, when McDavid's on the ice, I want to get send the thing so I know he's on. Be unbelievable. Obviously, hockey's a little bit different because, he can change all the time. But in Vladimir Guerrero, when he's coming up to the plate. Right? Or even if it's the start of the inning, he's scheduled to hit this inning. Okay. Here we go. Because right now, he is must-watch TV at the plate. It's great to see. Great to see. Hey, Gregs, do you still drop F-bombs in real life, though, now? From Country Kurt? You know what's funny? I'll do it in certain situations. Not nearly as often as I did before. But, and now when I do drop an F-bomb, I hear it right away because I don't swear very much anymore. And so I will notice it. So there's still certain times, usually though, it's kind of by myself when, I have to work on something typical, right? You're in the garage, you're trying to fix something that goes wrong, right? And then boom, it comes out. But obviously I don't swear around my son. I don't really swear a ton at events, but I can't say that I don't swear anymore. That'd be a bold-faced lie. So certain people, sometimes depending on the topic, it just kind of comes out. Sometimes it can be funny, right? Like you drop an F-bomb and it's not necessarily meant like you're mad, but when I am working by myself and something doesn't go right, then I just still find that that's an instant one that comes back. I don't know if I'll ever lose that. I'd like to, but it's just, you know what? That's when your emotions, it's like, hey, don't let your emotions control you. Every parent says that to their kid, and then you go around and you're like, and the kid looks at you, hey, Dad, don't let your emotions control you. Hey, shut up, kid. Don't be a good listener. So, hey, boys, intentional walk should be a double from Graham. Hey, Graham, dude, in the reg, I'd be all over that. I actually, you know what? I wonder. Now, I get that there's purists in the game, but that changes it a lot, would it not? Now, if you want your pitcher to then just pitch and try to paint the corners, fine, but you're still making him pitch 4 more times. So there's something to it. I like it. I like it a lot. I'd be all for it because why? You only get to see the best batters, 4 times a game on average? Some games I get there's 5, but usually it's 4. Why do we want intentional walks? Nothing good about it. And there's nothing in that. So I can't even find a comparison in another sport. There's no other sport that basically takes the opportunity for your exciting player not to even get a chance. I can't think of anything in hockey. I can't think of anything in basketball. Because even if you purposely foul, the guy can still get to the free throw line and gets to shoot. Right? And can make his 2 points. Whether it's a layup or he's shooting from the free throw line. Still gets a chance. You don't get a chance to swing. So I don't think there's anything equivalent. Can you, Cons, in sports, than the intentional walk?
No, I've got nothing. It'd be
now, I don't know, is there intentional walks in cricket? Any of our cricket listeners out there?
Could be our ignorance. I guess there could be something that we're not aware of.
Like I know the game goes a lot longer. They play for days, have a lunch break at times in cricket. Like I still don't, I'll be honest, I don't fully understand all the rules of cricket. I did, because they used to play it down when I lived on the South Side. I went and watched a match once and asked people standing there, said, hey, I want to learn more, so explain the game to me. And it was fascinating. So I understand more of the basics than I ever had before, but I still don't know all the rules. I'd be completely lying if I even tried to say that I did. But I understand the basic concept a lot better. And I was amazed that, like, you catch the cricket ball, like there's no glove in cricket. I'm like, I got some respect for that. A lot. Hey, guys, it's weird to pump up a 20-game heater. It'd be like a good 10-game segment in the NHL. Lots of people do it. Not nearly as talked about. From Jordo. Hey, Jordo, did you just hear what I said? It's not the 20-game hit streak. It's how much he's hitting in the 20-game hit streak. In the history of the game, Jordo, which is over 100-plus years, there's 162 games a year. He is one of only 5 players ever to have plus 35 hits in 20-game span, 10 home runs, 10 doubles, 10 walks. One of 5 guys, and you're telling me that, well, it's equivalent to a 10-game segment in the NHL? What? What are you talking about? It's not remotely close at all. Now, if you're going to say that, there's lots of guys in hockey who get, 2 points a game over a 10-game span, go show them to me. How many players have averaged over 2 points a game for a 10-game span? And that's probably because that's just one element of it. It would be over 2 points a game and 10 goals. And I don't know, plus 15. right? Like there's other elements. It's not just the points. It's not just the hitting streak of Guerrero. It's how dominant he's been inside of the 20 games. Because guess what? Over that 20-game period, you didn't even have to have a hit in every game. You just needed to have 35 plus hits, 10 home runs, 10 doubles, 10 walks. You could go 3 games without a hit in that case if you wanted. It'd be obviously very hard. But yeah, this is one of 5 times in the history of the game. So yeah, that's a big difference. Very big difference. 420, when we come back, will there be a difference? Now, I'm assuming there will be, because I'm guessing their starting quarterback will last longer than 5 minutes into the game. How much better could they be? Some people think they might be a playoff team this year. Playoffs? We're talking playoffs? Really? We'll find out next on The Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Rule number 12, not spending the afternoon tubing on the Pembina? Next, you're going to tell us you don't wear flannel. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instance, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days, because we all know they won't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Modern Air and Water is your source for AC, furnace, duct cleaning, and water purification systems. Get a 12-year parts and labor warranty and save up to $2,500 on the complete new system. Contact your Lennox Premier dealer at modernairwater.com.
The Brick is celebrating its 53rd birthday with fantastic deals in every department. Take up to 25% off dining and bedroom furniture, up to 40% off mattresses, and buy more, save more, up to $400 off select major appliances. Plus, save up to $1,400 on day and night furniture. And don't forget about back-to-class favorites, like desks starting at $74.95, small appliances starting at $99, and mattresses starting at just $169. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
Whatever the project, big or small, when you need metal cut precisely and promptly, you need Metal Supermarkets. That's right, fast, so you can get it done, then enjoy the sun. Imagine what you'll do with all that extra time.
I've always wanted to try bird watching. So peaceful, Hey, a woodpecker. That's my leg. What the actual...
Maybe find another summer pastime, but in the meantime, see the pros at Metal Supermarkets, the convenience stores for... Southside, West End, metalsupermarkets.com.
I'm Rick Showers from Noble RV. Anything that's exposed to the elements or has moving parts needs regular maintenance. And when you consider an RV, well, it falls into both categories. Lots of moving parts and sitting out all the time, which is why we hire the best RV technicians in Alberta to come work here at our new, bigger store in Leduc.
Noble has giant indoor service space that can hold the biggest RVs in the world.
That's right, Bob. The vast majority of our indoor space at Noble is dedicated to service and repair. You spend the summer in the great outdoors, and we spend the winter doing scheduled maintenance, so you're ready to go next season.
Sounds like a year-round thing, Rick.
That's it exactly, Bob. Our techs are the most highly experienced men and women in the business. We're solving problems and creating solutions every day. Whatever your used RV needs, our service team has seen it before and knows exactly what to do.
And that's Noble.
NobleRV.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantork. We're excited to announce that we now have machining capacity in-house, quicker turnarounds, improved quality control, and ultimate flexibility. Call 780-436-2000 or email colin@cantork.com to find out more. Cimini.
Positive Friday. How are you? Welcome back. Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you. Does that mean for the next 4 years, are we considered the fastest nation in the world? Because we won the 4x100 meter? Fastest nation of men in the world? I don't know. If you wanted to, you probably could. I will say this. I know there's some people that are all like, oh, yeah, what did Noah say back at the World Championship? Hey, I don't know another sport that maybe you if you want to win, you need to be confident. You need to be brash. You have to be. Like, you have to be the ultimate believer in yourself to win in track and field, especially in the sprints, man. And because, hey, obviously in the 4x100, it's a team event, but you got to believe that you're the fastest and the baddest man on the planet. Well, and when you want to be a sprinter, and if you're a woman, the same thing in the female side. So I don't mind a little brash talking. I don't mind it at all. So kudos to Canada. That was awesome to see. And obviously, for a nation that prides itself on being a great sprinting nation, I can only imagine that that will not be received very well in the U.S. of A. In the botch handoff and from 1 to 2, that was not great at all. So let's talk a little football as we go in the room. Brought to you by Action Electrical, family owned and operated for over 50 years. And if you're thinking about it, you're on the fence. Get off the fence and get to actionelectrical.net, and they can help you on the path to getting solar on your home or your commercial building. As we are joined now, it's interesting to talk about this team because last year could not have gotten off to a worse start. Like, I think it's physically impossible to have gotten off to a worse start. It was over before it began, really, for the New York Jets when Aaron Rodgers in the first series as their starting quarterback done. And even though he came back, but he never played, he was on the sidelines. It was a lost season. But now there's lots of positivity in old JETS land. And from ESPN.com, Rich Cimini joins us. And Rich, where do you come out on the Jets talk? How confident are you, or where do you come out on how good this team could be?
Well, actually, last season could have gone worse. I guess he could have got hurt on the third play instead of the fourth play, which would have been worse. But the point well taken. This is a really talented team. I've said this before. I think this is their most talented roster since 2010, which is their last playoff team, believe it or not. 13-year playoff drought, longest active drought in the NFL. So, hard. These have been lean years in New York with the Jets. It's a good roster. They do have some flaws. I have some questions about the coaching, and I'm also a little concerned about I'm a little leery about teams that rely so heavily on one player, and we saw what happened last year, and so I'm a little leery about that. So I think the Jets will probably be like a borderline playoff team this year, if I had to predict right now.
Yeah, okay. So they should be in the conversation, assuming Rodgers, et cetera, stays healthy. But he does have, he's got some pretty good skill players at the running back and receiver position.
Absolutely. Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall are two of the younger up-and-coming stars in the league. I especially like Breece Hall. I think he's, for fantasy owners out there, I think he's primed for a huge year. Those are two really, really exciting playmakers, both in their third year. And if they just get enough, if Rodgers gets enough time, to throw, if the offensive line could just hold up, I think both of those players could have monster years.
Yeah. It is like Breece Hall. Part of it, injuries at times here, but his speed is very enticing. And, you talk about from a fantasy perspective, but what about the O-line at the end of the day? Are they good enough to consistently open up holes for him? And more importantly, I guess, protect the quarterback so he's upright, whether it's screen plays or what have you. Where do you rank their O-line? And is there a strength on one side? And conversely, is there a weakness on any one position on the O-line?
Yeah, I think their line could be a middle-of-the-pack offensive line. I don't think they're going to be a top 10 offensive line. Last year, they were, I think, probably the second worst in the league, right behind the New York Giants. The Jet line was really bad last year. They allowed 60-something sacks. They got their quarterback killed. They were in constant shuffling because of injuries. But this line, I think a lot of it hinges on Tyron Smith, their left tackle. Obviously, everybody knows him from Dallas, 8-time Pro Bowler, a couple of All-Pros. He looks good in camp. He's moving really well. I think he's still got some gas left in the tank. The question is, can he stay healthy? He's had a number of injuries in recent years, so they're trying like crazy to keep him healthy. He doesn't even practice every day. They got him in bubble wrap, basically. So that's their left tackle. It's a very veteran group. The center's had some problems in training camp. Joe Tippmann, he's been airmailing a lot of shotgun snaps over Rogers' head. I think he's got a case of the yips, which is never a good thing for any athlete. And so they got to work through that. But I think if they stay healthy, the starting five, like I said, probably like a middle of the league kind of offensive line.
What about the defense?
Defense is really good. They were ranked third last year. I think they were fourth the year before, so they have a very high standard. I think there's a one big question mark right now is Hassan Reddick. The defensive end, very productive edge rusher. They got him from the Eagles in a trade, which I thought was a really good trade, but the guy hasn't shown up yet. He's holding out for a new contract. One of the more bizarre holdouts I've seen covering the Jets, and I've seen a lot of bizarre things covering the Jets. But, so they get him in a trade, and he's like, yeah, okay, I'll come to the Jets. And then all of a sudden he's like, nah, I don't think so. So he wants a new contract. The Jets aren't budging. He's holding out. It's been 18 days. He's being fined $50,000 a day. If they can get him into camp sometime soon, they're going to have an outstanding defensive line and a really good defense once again.
Rich, when you look at, drafting in the NFL is so important. And 1 year you can get 4 or 5 guys who are instant players who can impact your team. You look at their draft class, and I know they didn't have a second rounder, but obviously they took the big tackle out of Penn State. Was that 11th overall? I think it was. How has he looked in camp? And then are any other Jets draft picks, you think, guys who could be not necessarily key starters, but impact guys at different times throughout the year?
Yeah, it's a very strange situation. So they drafted Olu Fashanu out of Penn State 11th, and they basically don't want to play him this year, which is, he's backing up Tyron Smith at left tackle, and this is supposed to be like a redshirt year for Olu. The thinking is he's the heir apparent at left tackle. Tyron's here for 1 year, and then Olu will take over next year. That's the way the blueprint is drawn up, but we do know that Tyron Smith has had a lot of injuries, so chances are Olu's going to have to play. He's looked okay in camp. He's a strong player, probably stronger than I thought. He moves really well. He's learning, like all offensive linemen, he's learning to think on his feet, learning to read blocking schemes. He's had a couple of hiccups in that area. I would say the rookie who could make the biggest impact this year is their 4th round pick out of Wisconsin, the running back, Braylon Allen. Huge guy, 235 pounds, faster than I thought, catches the ball better than I thought. Obviously not going to be a starter. Breece Hall has, he's locked down that position, but they're going to need a backup running back. And I think Allen is going to get a few carries per game. And I think he's the guy to watch out for. Their 3rd round pick, Malachi Corley, I know a lot of people are excited about him. I don't see him making any immediate impact. He's not getting a lot of reps with the starters right now. I just think there's a steep learning curve for him coming from a college offense to learning this kind of offense in the passing game. So it's going to take him a little bit longer to get accustomed to this level.
So the red shirt strategy, Rich, you mentioned you've never really seen it, and you obviously cover the NFL a lot closer than I do. What would be the reasoning? Like, did he not get enough reps in college? They feel like this will benefit him from being a redshirt. Like, what's the reasoning? What's this strategy?
Well, their strategy was, I think they're freaked out by all the injuries they've had on the offensive line the last 2 years. It's just been an inordinate number of injuries, which have basically wrecked the last 2 seasons.
Okay.
And so they go out in free agency and they want to get a left tackle, and they go out and get Tyron Smith for a very team-friendly contract, incentive-laden, 1 year, and he'll probably retire after this year. And so they get to the draft, and they're like, we want to hedge our bets. We want to double down on left tackle, so we're going to take Olu Fashanu. And I actually thought it, because there was a lot of speculation that they might take Brock Bowers, the tight end from Georgia. I thought they made the right decision by going with Fashanu. They just, and it is unorthodox. Usually you draft the guy 11th, he gets inserted immediately into the starting lineup. The Jets are taking a very unconventional route here, but I think it was the right way to go, given all the injuries they've had in the offensive line and given Tyron Smith's recent history.
So what I know teams now, they'll look into a lot of things. So what is there anything that they uncovered that's led to their injuries on the O-line? Have they changed up practices? Have they changed up yoga routines, Pilates? I don't know. Is there anything that they've looked at that they feel might be the reason why their O-line is being so banged up?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think about three or 4 years ago, they hired a new sports performance department. They created this new department with a whole bunch of guys with their PhDs in sports, physiology or whatever. And they came in, and here we are like 3 or 4 years later, and they basically got rid of a couple of those people already from that department. So I guess things weren't going too well there. They still have a sports performance department. It's just different people running it. I think they've tried to adjust the amount of workload. You've heard the term many times in sports, load management. I think they're trying that in training camp just to monitor how many reps they take in practice. I think that's one thing they're trying to do. There's probably other ways, recovery, different things they're trying to do. All this sports science stuff is taking over. I'm maybe old school. I think guys need to work more to build up those calluses and be more trained for the regular season. But now the off season, they barely do any work in the off season, and they get to training camp and they used load management. And so it gets to the regular season, and I don't think these guys are as physically prepared as they should be. That's my old school mentality. Now they have all this modern sports science, which says that, you have to use load management. So what do I know?
Yeah, well, no, it's a fair question, right? Like, I don't know if you can ask guys not to do much and then suddenly go 100 miles an hour and be like, oh, geez, now they're hurt, right? Like that's
it's like in baseball with pitchers in baseball. It's they're cutting down on how many innings they throw, and God forbid a guy gets to 100 pitches in a game. They're pulling him out of the game. Well, I just think it's in a cycle of lowering, their durability and ability to, learn longevity in the long run. So I think the same is happening with football, and that's why I think you see more injuries.
Rich, you look at the division. Where do you the Bills? I'm guessing are probably that they're at the top. You got Miami though. Like, who do you like better in that division, the Bills or the Dolphins?
I still like the Bills. I know everyone is kind of down on them because they lost Stephon Diggs, but they still have the best quarterback in the division. And I think probably maybe the second or third best or fourth best quarterback in the AFC, and Josh Allen. And so I think that puts them a neck ahead, over Miami and the Jets. Buffalo's still got, they have a really good young running back. They have a really good young tight end. They're very well coached. So I would give Buffalo the edge. Miami is still the most explosive offensive team. I like Tua. The receivers are great. Now they're gonna lose some on defense this year, which is where I think the Jets can make up some ground, because I do think the Jets have the best defense in the division. But I think the Jets could win the division if everything falls right, and by that I mean that Rodgers is starting at least 15 games this year. But right now, I would say the Jets are probably running neck and neck with Miami for second.
Awesome stuff, Rich. We really appreciate it. Enjoy the preseason and into the regular season. Thanks so much for your time.
All right. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
There you go. That's Rich Cimini joining us from ESPN.com. And wow, red shirting. Cons, you've followed the NFL very closely. You have the 11th overall pick, and your plan is to redshirt him essentially for the whole year. Like, now, again, I don't follow every draft. This seems way outside the norm.
Yeah, I'm trying to think back, and if there's any diehard Tennessee Titans fans, maybe they can come and let me know. But I can think back to Caleb Farley, a defensive back they took a couple of years ago, and then Jeffrey Simmons, I believe, was another player. They had injuries in the offseason, And it was the expectation that if they came back in the regular season, that was a win. There was that chance that they still could have missed the entirety of their first seasons. So injury-wise, that's one thing. But, for a chance to just learn at the offensive line position, like you and I have said it, we'd love to see that with quarterbacks. But from the tackle spot, a little bit unique. So, yeah, that is certainly weird. And I'll say it. I was on the Brock Bowers camp. I wanted the Jets to get that tight end. I thought he would have been a great addition for an Aaron Rodgers-led offense. He had Mike Williams, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson. It would have made for a real fun offense. Obviously, he goes to the Raiders, but it was a bit of a surprise to hear that, taking a guy and just saying, hey, hang out on the bench, learn from one of the best, and we'll get you next year.
Yeah.
For a team that I would say is in win now mode.
Fair. 4:40. Quick break. We'll come back. We have 5 questions. We got LT, Spec, and more coming up in the 5 o'clock hour, and a busy, positive Friday on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Lotto Max, $70 million. 37 max millions tonight. Get your tickets. PlayAlberta.ca.
Hey, it's Brad McCory here from St. Albert Dodge. I'm here to say you do not want to miss our final clear out of classic Ram 1500 trucks. It really is your last chance to drive a brand new Ram truck off the lot with 25% off. When these are gone, they're gone. Or how about a Jeep Wrangler with up to $7,500 in savings and 0% financing on every model? Come see how we earn our industry-leading 4.6 Google review rating. You're going to love how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
Jonathan and Murray are friends.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, buddy. Except when they talk about which stadium is more fun in the summer.
Dude, Commonwealth has Elks Fan Park. Tailgating at its finest.
But it can't compare to the old ballpark in the River Valley. Riverhawks games are electric. But ask them who makes the best beef jerky in Alberta, and they'll tell you.
Wilhawk Beef Jerky.
It's the only thing everyone can agree on. So pick some up for your summer pregame snack.
Wilhawk Beef Jerky, because you don't win friends with salad.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
Now, all sizes of premium roast coffee at McDonald's have a new low price starting at $1 plus tax for a small. It's great if you love great tasting coffee. $1 small premium roast coffee every single day. Must be McCafe. Plus tax at participating restaurants in Canada. Excludes delivery.
The Brick is celebrating its 53rd birthday with fantastic deals in every department. Take up to 25% off dining and bedroom furniture and up to 40% off mattresses. And buy more, save more. Up to $400 off select major appliances. And don't forget about back-to-class favorites like desks starting at $74.95. Small appliances starting at $99. And mattresses at just $169. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
Silent Ice Sports and Entertainment is an innovative market leader across Western Canada. With sports and entertainment properties including the Spruce Grove Saints, the Junior Prospects Hockey League, Silent Rides Charter Company, the Hockey Super League, and the newly launched Female Super League. Silent Ice also owns the Western Hockey League Seattle Thunderbirds and operates the Morinville AAA Arena. The Silent Ice Center, a new state-of-the-art entertainment facility, is open in Nisku, which features 2 sheets of ice, including a 1,600-seat arena and a restaurant with a viewing area.
For over 65 years, Denham Ford has delivered the customer service and value that keeps Albertans moving. And nothing moves Albertans better than Canada's best-selling truck, the Ford F-150. Here now with rates as low as 0% or savings up to $17,000. That's the value you've come to expect from where cars always cost less. 0% or $17,000 off F-150s. Only at Denham Ford in Wetaskiwin or at denhamford.ca.
$444. Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube and Facebook. Hope you're having an awesome day. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you as it is time for 5 questions brought to you by The Brick and their 53rd birthday celebration ongoing up until the weekend is over. So you get into The Brick today, tomorrow, Sunday, and get great deals. $149 on mattresses. You can get great deals on TVs, appliances, maybe, the cooler chests. They got it all. But you want to get in before Sunday at The Brick and thebrick.com.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
All right, Jason, we talked some Preds on the show earlier today, a team that I think has higher hopes after their offseason. But which NHL team do you think has the biggest swing in points this season, going up or down?
Well, I could go with the low-hanging fruit, right? And you pick a bad team and be like, hey, I think they're going to go up. But I don't think that's really the value of the question. When I look at teams let's look at a team who I think could fall, right, for fun. And when I look around, I don't know why, but I think the Winnipeg Jets are a team that could drop like 10 points and be not a 100-point team. So the Jets are a team I see falling a little bit. And I guess if I'm picking a riser, I'm going to go with Utah.
Yeah, that's kind of who I was looking at too. They had 13, 14 game losing streak last year. I don't think that's going to happen this year. Few key acquisitions. They're actually a team I'm rooting for, playing in front of a real fan base there. Not to knock, those Coyotes fans in the rink, but going to a stadium or arena where you're going to have 16,000 fans in there, hopefully night in, night out, I think that's going to be something that's going to really benefit Utah. So I was going to go with Utah as a team that I think could be on the rise this upcoming season. Question number 2 for you right now. PlayAlberta.ca. The Elks, 2.5-point favorites going into Sunday's game against the BC Lions with the over-under set at 48.5. What is the smart bet right now, in your opinion?
Well, heck, the Elks scored 42 points last game. You're telling me it's 48.5? Kidding me? I'm going over all day long. It's like 25-24 and I win. Yeah, I will. I know that, BC's offense, I guess that's a concern, right? Like, what if the Elks score? I don't know. The Elks defense was really good for the majority of the first half against Saskatchewan. So, you know me, Cons. I can't go under, but I can understand why. I just think Trey Ford's going to find a way to get the Elks 30 points. And I think BC can somehow muster two. Well, even then, that's only 44. So, yeah. Well, you know me, I can't bet the under, but that's maybe the better bet.
Well, yeah. And I mean, even with the Elks playing better defensively, the Riders still had 31 points. And it could have been more. I thought that issue play was very close to being a touchdown. The week before that, the Elks defense gave up 44 to Hamilton. Better quarterback play. They'll have more possession time, so hopefully it won't be as high scoring. But I still got to go with the Elks to cover, and I'll take the over in that one as well. I think we're going to get some offensive fireworks down at Commonwealth. Question number 3. NFL preseason week 1 is underway. 3 more games tonight. Which rookie this year are you most interested to see play in the preseason this year?
Yeah, Harrison Jr. So that's the guy. That whole story I'm finding rather interesting to see what's going to, is this every time there's something new, people, I'm not upset by it at all. I'm more curious to see what's going to come of it. Does he end up benefiting from this? And will then others realize, hey, the current norm isn't the best way to go? That's why I'm curious.
Yeah, I'm going to go with 2 guys because I want to. Bo Nix for the Denver Broncos lit it up as a 23-year-old with Oregon last year. Very curious to see what he does as quarterback of the Denver Broncos when he gets his opportunity. And another guy I think I have equal amounts of questions about, J.J. McCarthy for the Minnesota Vikings. I know he won a national title. That Harbaugh offense is run heavy, but McCarthy made plays when he needed to. So McCarthy, Bo Nix, quarterbacks, those are the guys I'm really interested in watching this preseason. Question number 4 for you. Obviously, Canada up to 24 medals right now. How many do they finish with? And whatever that total is, what would you grade their performance here? Let's go letter grades.
Well, it's hard because people are going to look at some of the favorites who didn't win, sure, but then there was people that you didn't expect to win. So if Canada sets the best total they've ever had as a country, I don't see any way that you can say it's not a success. So, and I would give them a really solid rating. Like the Damon Warner loss is very odd to me, right? How that tactical error to not start, a little bit lower to make it, right? It's probably going to haunt him for a long time because he's like, man, I might not have won, but he was almost guaranteed a medal at that point. So that one has to be disheartening, right? Like look at Mitten today in the shot put. Like, I don't know what happened. It just shows you on any given day, things have to happen, and fall your way. And so, we're seeing some athletes testing sick and everything else. And so that has something to do with it. So I don't know. To me, you get 25 plus medals, best outing ever in a non-born cat. I don't know how you can't say it's not an A.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, it's been fantastic. We've seen some new stars elevate their game. We've got breakdancing. The medals coming tomorrow, as I've said. So, I think they'll add a couple more here. And I'm also going to give them an A to be different, A minus, just to give a little more room for improvement here. But these games have been fantastic to watch, and tough it's going to be over. But hey, Paralympics coming up after that. I'll be tuning into that as well. My final question for you, Gregor, on this hypothetical Friday: if you had a clone of yourself, what would you have it do?
Go ahead.
I mean, the lazy one is like, sorry, clone Connor, you're my maid. Let's say that. You're cleaning the house, you're taking care of business, taking the garbage out. Like it's not going to be a fun lifestyle for this guy, but he's doing everything I don't want to do. He's doing. Maybe one day.
Yeah, but that's way too vague. What exactly is he doing?
I think every once in a while I'd send him in to host Fantasy Frenzy with Brandon, just to see if Brandon can tell the difference. Is my clone a little dumber, maybe a little more intelligent?
Well, it's a clone. Isn't it supposed to be identical?
I don't know how that works. I'm not exactly 100% sure on the cloning process, but either way, every once in a while, I love doing this show, so I'll always be here. But the clone might do Fantasy Frenzy every once in a while, and occasionally the Saturday Sports setup.
I would want my clone to drive so I could sit in the back seat and relax.
That's your chauffeur?
That's what I would want. I'd want just to, I could relax. I could have some naps. That would be a big one for me. I would want, honestly, I would say I want to take an hour nap every day. And so my clone will be out there while I'm napping. So whatever it is, maybe the one day it's, making lunch. The next day it's walking the dog, whatever it is for that hour. That's what I want. So I get an hour nap. That'd be unbelievable.
I like that. Add another hour to your day. That's not bad.
Well, no, I'm not adding any hours. I get a nap hour is what I'm getting.
The productivity's there, right? For him, and then you get to,
I guess so,
take it easy.
Well, potentially.
Would you ever send him to the rink?
It's more so about me napping.
Would you send him to do anything for you, like go cover Elks or Oilers every once in a while?
Well, yeah, why not?
That would be so funny to see when the Oilers and Elks season overlap. You're in both scrums.
Oh, that would be amazing. Yeah, if you could do that. I'm trying to think. You know what? Like, we're getting a lot of texts, hey, guys that want him to work out. See, now that I'm back into working out, I feel better after I work out. Like, I don't love when I do it, but afterwards I always feel better. And even, I shouldn't say that. I don't like starting, but once I'm started, I'm like, okay, this is good. I like it. I'm in here. Got a sweat going on. It's good. You feel like you're accomplishing something. So I wouldn't want to miss out on that. Now, maybe washing dishes every now and then. Sure. Although even that, I know this sounds odd, but washing dishes is like therapeutic for me. I like it. I look out the window. It's pretty calming outside. I don't know. I just feel like I accomplished something and I know the dishes are done well. It's my one thing. I like to wash the dishes. I like to make sure there's nothing worse than somebody who cuts corners on washing the dishes and then doesn't clean the sink properly.
Yeah.
It's the dishes is kind of like 95, but it's not a complete job until you have made sure that the sink is rinsed out and scrubbed properly. So never, because otherwise some people, you know what, all of a sudden your drain side is just reeking because you haven't cleaned it out properly. So do it as you go. Maybe nice.
Do you leave dishes in the sink? Is there a rule in your family about that?
Oh, I shouldn't say never. There the odd time, but I don't eat late at night anymore. You know, that's part of, I read up on all that, it's bad for you, right? So I get it. Now, if you're somebody who's working out, totally different, but I'm not working out after my job. So I don't need to be eating at 10 o'clock anymore. So no, I like when dinner's done, I do all the dishes. And then the kitchen is clean because then when I get up, because I'm always the one up in the morning, I make breakfast first. I like to have a clean kitchen. So there is the odd time where there might be a spare plate or something here or there, but no, like I could not go to bed if you made dinner and had all the pots from potatoes or everything and you hadn't washed them. No chance. I can't do it.
That's fair.
I couldn't go to sleep that way. I honestly, it would bother me. It's probably a little anal retentive, but I couldn't do it because then I got to do it in the morning. Then I wake up and now I'm just annoyed. So yeah, no thanks. No thanks. Hey, Greg, did you say 37 max millions? What does that mean? I'm curious. Well, it means there's 70 million as a grand prize, and then there's 37 $1 million prizes. So there's a lot of potential to win, is what they're saying. Play Alberta.ca for Lotto Max. 833-401-1440. We got a lot of texts on this topic. Hey, guy, if I had a clone, I'd send him to ninja school and bring him back to be my bodyguard. And the coming apocalypse from Phil. Hey, Greg, you're bang on. Washing dishes is like meditation from Heavy Chevy. You're right. Like, you kind of, I know what I'm doing, but it's not like I have to put in a lot of thought to it. Right. And I kind of, it's not like I can think about something else. Like I still have to concentrate enough on the task at hand that it kind of clears out any of the other thoughts. So you're right. Serenity now. I can't meditate though. That's the other thing. You tried to meditate, Connor?
I
can't do it.
I've tried with like YouTube videos and breathing techniques. How do you know when you're doing it?
I don't know. Like can't's probably the wrong word. I'm not successful at it and I don't try it enough. So
when you're doing it, maybe someone who does it can tell me like, how do you feel? Does time go by quicker?
Well, some people, they just say it calms them down, right? Because the whole point of meditation is to be in the moment, so you aren't thinking about anything else, right? So it slows your brain down. It's because some people got a lot of stuff going on all the time, right? So I don't know. I tried it a few times. You get in that moment. Okay, you can calm, talk in a soft voice, and okay, now breathe deeply. All that stuff, I get it all. But then when I'm in the moment, but it's like 10 seconds pass, and all of a sudden I'm thinking about, hey, so, who am I going to draft in my fantasy league or whatever it is, the thought of the day. And then it's just like, shut up.
I'm
supposed to be meditating. So yeah, I'm not good at it.
That's like, but I'm like, is it working? Am I doing it? Yeah.
Well, yeah, but now you're thinking, so of course not.
I just can't get into it.
Is it working? Then it's not working. Somebody out there probably has tips on how to learn to meditate better. Because I read about all of the benefits of it. I just haven't been able to master it. Anybody have any tips on how you became a good meditator? Let us know in our email inbox, 833-401-1440. Let's get to the con man. Sports 1440 update brought to you by E-Well. 1976 is when they started supplying electrical gear, and they've continued to grow and expand. Now they have a 24/7 online store. You need it anytime, any day. EWEL.ca.
The Sports 1440 update.
Good day for Canada at the Paris Games as they picked up a gold medal in the men's 4x100 meter team relay. Andre DeGrasse running the anchor. The team also included Aaron Brown, Jerome Blake, and Brendan Rodney. The team improving on their silver. They won in Tokyo. Canadian Katie Vincent and Sloan McKenzie winning bronze in the women's double 500 meter sprint canoe final. And on the beach volleyball court, it was Canada picking up silver. Brandy Wilkerson and Melissa Humana Parody falling to Brazil in 3 sets. With that, Canada ties their 2020 medal total of 24. Major League Baseball today, the Jays in action. Vlad Guerrero Jr. looking for hit in his 21st consecutive game. That gets going in about 7 minutes time right now. Orioles up on the Rays 1-0, and the Angels and Nationals are scoreless. Earlier today, Twins knocking off the Guardians 4-2 in Game 1 of their doubleheader. The Yankees-Rangers will be postponed due to rain in the Bronx. The Edmonton Riverhawks playing their first ever playoff game this weekend at home. They'll host the Bellingham Bells on Saturday. First pitch set for 7 o'clock in the CFL. You got the Stampeders heading to the 6, taking on Toronto. That one gets going in 30 minutes time. On Sunday, the Elks will host the BC Lions. 5 o'clock kickoff at Commonwealth in that one. We're moments away from kickoff in the NFL today as the Dolphins host the Falcons and the Texans take on the Steelers. Then at 5:30, it's the Eagles up against the Ravens. And at the Helenka Gretzky right now, Czechia leads Sweden 2-1 in the second period. Later tonight, you got Canada taking on the United States. That'll get going at 7:30. Coming up in hour 4 of the Jason Gregor Show, we will be joined by Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet and Alan Mitchell, host of the Lowdown with Lowetide. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update. Portions of this hour brought to you by Crystal Glass, your clear choice for residential windows. Locally manufactured and installed, Crystal Glass provides a beautiful product and incredible customer services for all your residential needs. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca for a quote.
Just after 5 o'clock. You made it through another week as you make your way home. Drive safe. Pause of Friday on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. Sports1440.ca. Some of you listening on the app. Got we always get a few text people listening that who are driving out of town. They're on holidays. Got the app. This is unreal. So thanks for tuning in wherever you go, making us part of your holidays or your just your daily trek, however it is. So thank you very much. We always appreciate you being along for the ride or along for the watch at YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter. Thank you very much. Another 3-medal day for Canada. We got the gold in the men's 4x100. We have the silver in beach volleyball and the bronze in the women's C2 500 meters. Katie Vincent, Sloan McKenzie getting the bronze there. Also, if you missed it, Andre DeGrasse has now 7 medals at the Olympics, 2 golds, 2 silver, 3 bronze. His 7 medals in track and field. The only man with more, Usain Bolt had 8. Carl Lewis had 6. DeGrasse, now that's when you combine individual and relays, right? Because obviously they all won some relay medals as well. So 8 for Bolt, 7 for DeGrasse, 6 for Carl Lewis. So not bad. Andre DeGrasse with a sizzling final 100 meter today. If you haven't seen it, go watch the race. Fantastic race. Like the relay is so exciting to watch. So check it out. Let's get to the Spec Report brought to you by GS Construction. Now, it might not be as exciting sometime, the old life of underground construction, but it's infinitely more important. You like running water? All the other sewers, all the stuff that goes on, the underground infrastructure. That's what they do at GS Construction. So a shout out to all the maybe less heralded, but just as important gigs from gsconstruction.com. As Mark Spector joins us, and Spec, the excitement, the chaos of the relay was on full board today. The women's 4x100 was great. Canada finished 7th. They represented them very well. That was an exciting race as well. But man, the men's race, you know, there's carnage for the U.S. on their first exchange. Oh my goodness! Like when like some like I've seen guys drop a baton, but oh my goodness, like that one was brutal. Like the timing was so off. It was stunning.
They looked like they'd never practiced, right? So there's a huge history of this though with the U.S. I mean, the U.S. has always had great 100-meter, 200-meter runners. They've never been, you know, and they've always shown up at the 4x1 like we're going to kill everyone and we're the favorites, and lots of ego and lots of chest thumping and all of that. And they managed to mess up their exchanges on a you know, annual Olympic basis. Every 4 years, there's another reason they screw it up. They don't have a lot of gold medals, right? They haven't won this event very often, considering their stable of track guys, of 100-meter guys. So Canada's always a better team. And I think this was the most stark example of 4 guys with less pedigree than the American guys, but who are a way better team, worked together way more smoothly, and came home with the gold, while the U.S. guys DQ'd because they couldn't even exchange a baton, for Pete's sakes.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for them, but great for Canada. And you know what? If that's Andre DeGrasse's final race as an Olympian, whew, what a way to go out.
Yeah, you know, if you ask some guy on the street, name your top Canadian sprinters in history, right? Track guys in history, like, you know, they'd say Donovan Bailey, and you might even throw, you know, guys that think, but not many people in Canada, we don't know a lot about track here. What about Ben Johnson? What about Bruni Surin? What about those guys, Glenroy Gilbert and them? Almost no one would name DeGrasse, right? You wouldn't, you know, he hasn't ever been considered like the fastest man in the world or any of that stuff. He's got more medals than all of them. So that surprises me. Like that's a guy that never had the pedigree or the press or the pumping up that all the other guys had, and he's won more than anybody. Good for Andre DeGrasse.
Oh God, yeah. You know, and it's you're right. You know, in a sport that I do think has to have a lot of bravado, I think you just have to have it in that sport. It's an individual sport. It's you against your competitors, but a lot of times you against the clock, but really it's you against your competitors, and you can run a personal best and still not win. right? Because the other guy might run better than you. It just happens. And so it was great for him, especially, you know what, up until that point, he probably didn't have the Olympics he wanted. Had a little bit of a nagging hamstring injury, according to him. And so it was a great way to go out. And if he's going out or not, like it's funny. The fact when they were showing the 200 meter and he was the oldest runner, like sprinting, it's the one we look at other sports and greatness is extending longer. Sprinting still, we haven't seen, like Usain Bolt, I think, was he 31 when he won his last Olympic gold medal? Like you're not seeing guys at 35 or 6, especially without steroids, being able to compete compared to that. Just shows you how hard that is at the 100 meter.
Yeah, there's no adapting your game. Like, guys in hockey, they show up as one-trick ponies. They score, and as they get older, they find other things to do. And then by the end, when they don't skate as good anymore, they're veterans and they know the tricks of the trade, and they still are valuable players. But they're maybe at 35 a completely different player than they were at 25, or certainly they've matured into a different player. When you're running the 100-meter sprints, man, and you got you got to come in under 10 seconds to be competitive. There's no shaping your game. There's no being a wily veteran. You got to perform. You got to run down the track in 9.9 seconds, or the other guys do, and you're out of it. So I'm not sure, Jay, that there's a sport where Father Time is more cruel than in short distance track running. I mean, you just can't do it anymore at 35. There's some kid who's 21 who's faster than you are.
Yeah, no, it's fair. When we look at some other things, the Elks game, we've talked a lot about the Elks and what they need to do here this weekend to win. Suddenly, it keeps the window open for maybe it's a long shot, but it keeps the window open at least for the playoffs, and probably gives a surge to the fan base, because it'd actually be a home win. Which they haven't had all season long, and really haven't had many the last few years. Haven't had many wins, but definitely not many at home. And the Riverhawks, though, Spec, it's their first home playoff game. It goes Saturday night. Ticket sales are going very well. I think they're going to have a chance to have a sellout. And as a longtime baseball guy, like it's been a while since that facility has been 7,000 plus on a consistent basis. But that's what they're starting to do for the Riverhawks.
Yeah, it's really brings joy to an old baseball guy's heart to see what those guys, Steve Hogle and Randy Gregg and their crew down there have done. They've really breathed life back into pro baseball in Edmonton. And if there was ever any doubt, right, if Edmonton was a good baseball town, and there wasn't, the Trappers only died. Let's get this on the record. The Trappers only had to leave because Vancouver wouldn't build a new park, and Calgary wouldn't build a new park, and their teams couldn't make it there anymore in these 80-year-old stadiums. Edmonton put their foot forward, built a beautiful new AAA ballpark, and now we're the only team in Western Canada, and the PCL doesn't want to come up here anymore for one team. So Edmonton has always been a fantastic baseball town, and the Riverhawks are proving it, and the fans are proving it by showing up at the games. The Riverhawks are giving you somebody to come watch and have fun night at the ballpark, and the fans are reciprocating, Jay. And I would say to you that the Elks have the very same opportunity. If the Elks give you something to rally around, I guarantee you the fans will show up. But it's up to the team, and the Riverhawks have done it. They've given you a hell of a product and a really fun night at the park every time you go. It's the Elks' turn to give you the same thing.
Yeah, well, it helps by winning. That's for sure. If you do that on a consistent basis, I think it'll give you a much better chance to do it more often. We talked about Nashville earlier today, Spec. And I asked a question to our audience. We got some interesting texts. Do you see Nashville, like, where would you rank them in the West? Like, if Edmonton and Dallas are the first tier, what tier is Nashville?
Well, let's take a look think it through in the Central, right? I think we'd probably all say Dallas and Colorado are the two best teams in the Central. Then it's Nashville and Winnipeg in my eyes. So, are they in with, in the Pacific, the best teams are who? Are they Edmonton and Vancouver? Are they Edmonton and Vegas? I'm not sure, frankly. Probably Edmonton, Vancouver. So I would put them in the tier with Vegas and LA and Winnipeg, and not a favorite, but a team that if they're going good and make the right ad at the deadline, they could give you some trouble because they got a goalie.
Yeah, no, that's true. They definitely have a goalie. I look at them and like, would you put them ahead of Colorado? Do you put them ahead of Winnipeg? Do you put them ahead of Vancouver? Do you put them ahead of Vegas? Or are they still like 7th?
Well, I got to see that team play a little. Like, they weren't very good last year. They weren't much of a force. They made a couple big, how's Steve Stamkos going to work there? Steve Stamkos has never played anywhere but Tampa. Is he going to walk in the door in Nashville and be Steve Stamkos again? Who's he playing with? Who's feeding him that puck on the left circle for that patented one-timer that he loves so much, right? Does he have that guy? I don't know. Nashville's got to show me they can score goals. They've always had such a stable of defensemen, and they've never had it at forward, right? So they add a couple guys here, but we haven't seen them play a game yet, Jay. I'm not telling you that because they look good on paper, they're going to look good on the ice. They got to look good on the ice first before I'm buying in.
Yeah, okay. Totally fair. I'd agree with you on that. And lastly, I want to end on baseball, Spec. Vladimir Guerrero is having an unreal run. Bobby Witt Jr. had an unreal July. What did he hit? I think like 430 or something like that.
Yep.
He's probably the runaway winner right now in the AL MVP. But Vladimir Guerrero is on a 20-game span where he's got over 35 hits. He has over 10 home runs, 10 walks, 10 doubles. He's batting .507. He's got 11 doubles, 11 home runs. Like, this guy, he's not just getting hits, Spec. He's pounding the ball. He's only the 5th player all time in any 20-game stretch in the history of baseball to have plus 35 hits, plus 10 home runs, plus 10 doubles, plus 10 walks. Like, you don't see this very often.
Okay, so he's had a hell of a month, right? He's had a historic month. He's had a historic month when his team's completely out of it. I could have used that month when the Jays were still in the thing, I'd like to say. But you know what? I mean, it's not his fault the Jays aren't any good. They got a lot of problems, don't get me wrong. But there was a lot of times when they could have used those bats when they were still in contention. They might still be in contention if he was doing that in June instead of August. But you know what? Don't look a gift horse in the mouth. He's having a historic run here. If the season ends and Vladdy has one great month, I'm not giving him any MVP votes, if that's what you're getting at.
No, God, I'm not getting at that. I'm just saying it's amazing to watch someone get this hot and extended for this long. And now he's got the Oakland Athletics coming to town. Like, it should be Pound Town this weekend for Vladdy Guerrero.
Well, game's probably starting right about now, 10 minutes ago. So, hey, listen, it's fun. Like, listen, pal, I like to watch the Jays. I like having the Jays on when you put a steak in the barbecue at 5 o'clock and they're all in the background. And I enjoy baseball. This is going to be a tough, end of summer and fall because the Jays they're never doing it. They're out of it, man. They're not making the playoffs. They're a million miles away. They're going to start trading guys away. They already started trading guys away. So at least he gives us something, right? Vladdy's given us something to turn the Jays game on and watch. And I guess we got to be thankful for that because there's not a lot to love around that Blue Jays team right now other than Vlad Guerrero. Or am I missing something?
Oh, God, no. There's not a whole lot. Like, now they got some decent pitchers, right? Gosman, Barrios, but yeah, there's not a Green out of the bullpen's actually been pretty good, but yes, there's not a lot. Well, I will say no. The one thing is Varsho at center field defense. Not great at the plate, but his defense right now is that guy is a highlight reel on the defensive side of the game. But yeah, they got a clean house in management, do they not? At the end of the season in Toronto.
Listen, those guys from Cleveland came in here. The biggest mistake Rogers ever made, and they're my employers, so I hope they're not listening. They had Alex Anthopoulos, a really smart, young Canadian, up-and-coming executive, and they wouldn't pay him, and they let him go. And he went to L.A. I believe he went to L.A. and won a World Series, and now he went to Atlanta and wins World Series. He's one of the best organizations in baseball. He's one of the top executives in the game. And they bring in a couple of guys from Cleveland where they never won anything. And guess what they're doing in Toronto, Jay? They're not winning anything.
Yeah.
Bad idea. It started with Alex Anthopoulos. I couldn't figure out the day that they wouldn't pay him and let him go. I thought, what are you? If you don't want him, who do you want?
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. right? If he's not the answer, who is? Because to me, I've always said, if you don't think this guy's the answer to your team, great. Well, then tell me who's better.
And he's Canadian. He's Canadian.
Yeah, and their decision showed it was not the right decision.
Yeah, and it's how long is that going to bite you in the rear end, that decision, right? It's still biting them today, and now they're going to bring in new management, and they better be good, or it'll still be biting them 5 years from now.
Oh, it can bite you for decades. You don't recover from stuff like that. We've seen it in lots of organizations.
Yes, sir.
Sure. Spec, have yourself a wonderful weekend, my man.
All right, you too, Jake.
There's Mark Spector, and the Spec Report brought to you by GS Construction. When we return, Alan Mitchell, he's a huge baseball guy, so we'll probably talk a little Vladdy. Also, the Oilers. Lowetide had some interesting articles this week about the Oilers, and we'll discuss it and something that concerns him. Next on the Jason Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca, live on Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, as well as Oilers Nation YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter.
The summer road lays ahead. Your potential destinations are endless. Volvo Cars Edmonton gives you choice to match. Right now, lease a 2024 Volvo XC90 from 0% for qualifying loyal customers. Or save $7,000 on all new 2024 XC60 recharge plug-in hybrid models. All demo vehicles come with a free 10-year, 1 million kilometer warranty. No matter what you decide this summer will become, your first choice is Volvo Cars Edmonton. VolvoCarsEdmonton.com, 1205 101 Street Southwest.
The cheesy burger pizza is back at Papa John's. See what happens when you ask for it? Boom! Finally, it's on the menu again for a limited time. Get all the items in the cheesy burger trio or choose between the large cheesy burger pizza for $18.99, cheesy burger papadilla for $9.99, and bacon cheesy burger papa bites for $8.99. All made with sizzling beef, dilly pickles, ooey gooey cheese, and burger sauce. That's right, burger sauce. Get it before it's gone. Better ingredients. Better pizza. Better get you some cheesy burger pizza at Papa John's.
The locks are on a timer. They're going to get out.
Sounds like jobs for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Service team reporting. With the remarkable reach of our bucket trucks and other equipment, we assess, service, and maintain your electrical lighting and automation systems.
Facing an electrical menace? Call the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
The Brick is celebrating its 53rd birthday with fantastic deals in every department. Take up to 25% off dining and bedroom furniture, up to 40% off mattresses, and buy more, save more, up to $400 off select major appliances. Plus, save up to $1,400 on day and night furniture, and don't forget about back-to-class favorites, like desks starting at $74.95. Small appliances starting at $99 and mattresses starting at just $169. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is your supplier of maximum comfort, bringing you the cool AC you need. You just have to
call Legacy. Call Legacy.
For comfort at night when the hot air suffocates you.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
For comfort in your wallet with no payments or interest for 1 year.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
You deserve comfort. Cool off today with AC from Legacy Heating and Cooling.
You don't work for GMC, but it's kind of like you do because you pay what we pay. GMC employee pricing is on now on all 2024 GMC Sierra half tons and Hummers. Oh, but at Wolf GMC Buick, it's even better. Get GMC employee pricing on every in-stock 2024 GMC. If it's new and a 2024 and it has that beautiful GMC logo on it, then it's GMC employee priced. Pay what we pay, but only until August 26th. Get into Wolf GMC Buick now and see the over 200 GMCs in stock.
Now, all sizes of premium roast coffee at McDonald's have a new low price starting at $1 plus tax for a small. It's great if you love great tasting coffee. $1 small premium roast coffee every single day. Must be McCafe. Plus tax at participating restaurants in Canada. Excludes delivery.
So they hit streaks to 21. 525. Positive Friday on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. How are you? Welcome back to the show. And hey, this is 2 days in a row. So when a guy's hot, you got to stick with it at playalberta.ca. We say, Vladdy, RBI, boom, first inning. No, sorry, not an RBI, but another hit. So the streak, if you were betting on the streak, it's up to 21 games for Vlad Guerrero. But Varsho, unfortunately, got thrown out trying to go first to third. Not good. Let's get to the oil report brought to you by VolvoCarsEdmonton.com, Canada's #1 Volvo dealership, where right now the plug-in hybrid XC60, I actually just got one. I'm going to tell you, that thing has got some pep. 455 horsepower and so quiet, it's unreal. I love it. Try one. Go for a test drive this weekend at VolvoCarsEdmonton.com. As Alan Mitchell, the host of The Lowdown, weekdays, noon till 2 here on Sports 1440, joins us. LT, what's happening, my man? Longtime baseball guy, Vladimir Guerrero, has done something that only 4 other players in MLB history have done over a 20-game stretch, 35-plus hits, 10 dingers, 10 doubles, 10 walks, hitting .507. Pretty hot.
He's one of my favorite players. I love watching him play. When he first came up, he played third base a little bit, and his footwork was terrible. They moved him to first, and he has worked so hard to become a really good first baseman. But he had that big year, 2021, and then he's kind of been, people have been disappointed in him. And this year has been a disappointing year for the Jays. But certainly after the All-Star break, he's just been on fire, and it's so good to see. I'm really happy for him, and I hope the Jays sign him to a long-term deal and then put some people around him, maybe a lefty bat too, and some good things can happen next summer. This has kind of been a wasted year, but not for Vladdy. He's hammering it right now.
Oh yeah, no, he's. You're right though. It's not been good for him, but good for pretty much everyone else. Al, you've had some interesting articles this week about the Edmonton order. So let's touch on the Oil, and we look at their, when they're this good. Does their farm system matter that much? I don't know if it matters as much as the fact that you just want some good quality players that you can probably use for assets more than the future, right? Like you got Holloway and Broberg coming, and maybe Raphael Laval will come, and now they did trade for Savoy, but other than Max Wayner, I'm not sure I see a lot of other guys that are going to really have a chance to step in the next 3 years. Do you?
No. The guys who, this is the owners are in this interesting window now where you're more likely to see Lane Peterson or Raphael Lavoie called up than a really hotshot prospect. You go back to like Sam Gagner, Cogliano, what was that, 07 fall? It seems like every year there's some phenom coming to town. They're on the other end of that now. So you might see a 26-year-old guy like Peterson, I don't know how old he is, but or Raphael Lavoie, who are older guys, but haven't really had a chance because of the quality of the Oilers team the last couple of years. Now they get a shot, but only because, Savoy's the next guy to come out of there, but I don't think he'll play much this year unless there's injury. I think he'll be good enough to get a recall, but I just don't see it, even though, I think my personal opinion is that Matthew Savoy is going to, I think he's going to score around a point per game or close in the AHL. I think he's going to be a really good player down there.
Yeah, well, that would be a good problem. And honestly, to me, Oilers, there's no reason. Like when I look at Matthew Savoy and say, okay, he's a point-a-game player in the AHL. The Oilers are a cup contender. Do we think he can be a guy who can impact the game in the playoffs? There's a big step from the AHL to there. That's why they're in no rush. They should let him. And I get that the young player and maybe friends and family, they want him to play. I understand that. But when I look at he is not going to regress by playing the American League a full season at all.
Yeah, for me, he's a guy, if they get an injury on the right wing and he's really hot in the AHL and they feel like, let's call him up, the injuries, 10 games, we don't want to make a trade. Maybe they've tried Raphael Lavoie already. Call up Savoy and let him play. But even then, if he's having a great year in the AHL, just leave him down there. I mean, I'd like to see him come up a year from now, and maybe he could. The Oilers have never had a Calder Trophy winner as Rookie of the Year, and not that that's the trophy they want, but it would be nice to see that young man play an entire season when he's ready at the National Hockey League in a more prominent position than he'd get this year if he were to be called up.
Yeah, that's probably fair, right? And I know that Oiler fans, Al, you brought up some that Oiler fans have, like, Oiler fans really want a Calder. I think they feel that Nugent Hopkins maybe got screwed over one year, and
well, he did.
Yeah. No, that was the one. Like when people were trying to tell me that Yakupov should have won it, I'm like, I don't know what planet you're on, but there's no chance.
No,
but
it was Nugent.
I think it was valid that Nugent, when you have the same amount of points as a guy, but you played 20, you played fewer games. Like, what are we talking about here? So
and he's a center, for God's sake. It was the right call, and they made the wrong one, and it's okay. Life goes on. But I think Nugent deserved that Calder Trophy.
Yeah. If you look at kind of the back end down in Bakersfield now, right? Like they got a lot of veteran guys outside of Max Wayner. What do you think any of them can fill in, or the fact that they've got Stetcher and Brown, it's irrelevant?
No, I think, here's the thing, and I keep going around and round in my head because you'd know this better than me because you know the numbers or you run them a lot. I think it's like 40 to 45 games that the average seventh defenseman plays in the NHL. It's something. It's not 82.
God, no.
Yeah, no, it's about half or a little more, maybe 50 games, right? So if like Josh Brown is the new Desharnais, and they'll probably want him to play that physical style. Stetcher is a more of a mobile guy. Maybe they'll have more injuries and they'll play more. But I think that we might see each of them get 25, something like that. But I think that whoever those are your 7 and 8 defensemen. The number 9 guy might be Kemp, and he might get one more game this year. They don't, unless injuries really hit. And like, I like Gleason's speed, but I don't think he's an NHL two-way guy. I think he's a guy you could, play for 5 games, but I don't know that you could really count on him. And, Cam Dineen's somewhat the same. Warner's the guy, I think, but he's had 1 year, really good year in the AHL, but they don't have to hurry him up at all. If Broberg works on the right side, or if they run Nurse CC and then run a third pair of a combination of Kulak with Brown and Broberg and Stetcher, they're all kind of rotating in. Then they probably don't need it. We could see fewer than 15 games played this coming season, I think, from any of the Condors or the combination of the Condors defensemen as recalls.
Al Mitchell joins us here on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube and Facebook. The Oilers. I know we get texts. We still get a lot. Hey guys, what's new on Draisaitl? There's nothing new on Draisaitl, but as I've said, I've been pretty consistent with mine, and a lot of that. Jeff Jackson at the draft outlined pretty much what was happening. There's not going to be any negotiations till they get their GM. Their GM was hired July 24th. He's been on the job just over 2 weeks. He said earlier this week that he started negotiations with Mike Liut. One of Draisaitl's agent, who's not the one negotiating this, but I'm sure he'll still, if you got a European agent, got a North American agent, I'm sure you still talk to both at some point. To me, Al, you got 3 weeks until August 30th. You still got oodles of time. And I know I'm in the minority, but even if he wasn't signed till September 15th, I don't think it matters. As long as he gets an extension, whether it's September, October, November, it doesn't matter. Now, does it lower the stress level of Oilers fans? 100%. So I understand that from a fan perspective. But if we look ultimately, it really doesn't matter because he's under contract for this year when he gets his deal done. Is it better for everybody? Yes. Do I think he would like to get the extension done before the season begins? 100%. And that's why I think it happens. Like, I think Leon Draisaitl carries a lot of the weight in this conversation. Stan Bowman, not that he's exposed his hand, but he basically outlined, hey, still guys are really hard to find. When you get them, you keep them. So, I don't think he's going to be playing hardball here.
No. Well, what I'll say to Oilers fans is that since time eternal, I've followed the Oilers as an organization for since '72, and for many, many years now, they seed the future. They sort of throw up trial balloons. If some news is coming that's not great, it starts to filter through a little bit here or there. And there's been nothing. I have heard nothing, Jason, that implies that there's any thought that Draisaitl won't sign. In fact, the opposite is true. Either they're doing a hell of a job downplaying this thing. They've all taken acting lessons, or this is simply not an issue. It's a matter of, hey, how many years do you want? What's the dollar amount? Let's get that done. And, as you say, maybe it's in September because, it'll take that long, or there's some other considerations. But I think that based on what has been indicated by the Oilers organization, my suspicion is that if not farther along, they're just so chill about it. And if they weren't, I think we'd start to just see the seeding of the future news by now. That's the way the Oilers have always done business. They sort of indicate early on about how things might flow if there's something that's going to be coming down the pipe that fans have to kind of brace themselves for. You always get indications from the Oilers. They've done it forever.
Yeah, and most teams would. And I just I've said for both sides, I can't see a reason why you wouldn't get a deal done. Right? Like I could make an argument why Tampa Bay felt it was a time to walk away from Steven Stamkos. I can make that argument. I can't make an argument as to why today is the right time to walk away from Draisaitl. Now, you might only want to get a 7-year deal and have to settle to do an 8-year deal. You know what I mean? But I don't see a real big major risk from Edmonton's side. And obviously from Draisaitl's side, I don't see a big risk because there's not many teams where he can look and say, I think I'm going to have a better chance to win there.
Yeah, well, there's only one team that he could sign with a year from now that has Connor McDavid on it, and that's the key to the highway. And also, I'm sure you saw that video of them in the dressing room where they look completely devastated. I just don't think they'd walk away from that. They had it. They felt really good about Game 7. Didn't happen. So, I think that I think that was this team has learned some hard lessons along the way. And, I think they were good enough to win the Stanley Cup last year. They didn't do it. Game 7, it comes down to luck. Ask the Vancouver Canucks or the 06 Oilers. And they didn't get it done, and that's fine. But I think that the idea that they're not up to the challenge or they don't want to get right back to that game, maybe it's Game 5 this time they win. But I think those Edmonton Oilers, to a man, absolutely want to win the Stanley Cup together. These guys grew up together. Remember the 2015 orientation camp at the old arena? McDavid, Nurse, Draisaitl, they were all on the ice together. It was an unusual thing for Nurse to be at that orientation camp because remember, he'd been drafted in 2013. So it wasn't, the orientation camp, he'd already been through it a couple of times, but they brought him in specifically because they wanted that to be the heart of the team. And it has been for a decade. So for me, I think that the length of the contract is unknown. The amount is unknown. But I would be shocked at this point, based on all the tea leaves that we're reading, if he didn't sign a contract with the Oilers here long before training camp.
What's your number, Al? Ultimately, what do you think his AAV is?
I think 8 times 14. He may take less. He may take 12 or 11. I don't know.
Well, I don't think there's any chance he takes less than. I'd be stunned if he takes less than 13. I'd be very surprised by that.
Yeah. So let's say 8 times 13 or 14. I think if you're Draisaitl, you want market. You want to protect yourself, and you can say, anybody can say, well, he's already made enough money. Well, he's made enough money, but this is his last chance to sign a monster deal. This is his, this is it. This is what he worked for. He's giving up the opportunity to look around, to fly to Manhattan or wherever a year from now. So I think he wants to be. It's hard, Jason. 8 times 14 is, what is that? $112 million.
Yeah.
It's hard to turn that down. It's hard to say, well, I want 50 instead. I'll cut the 62 off This is an enormous amount of money. It is. So I think that if you're going to do it, you do it deep and long, and I think that's what he'll do.
Al, have yourself a wonderful weekend. What about the Elks? Are they winning 2 in a row?
I'd love to see it. And this is a weird year in the CFL. We saw a tie game last night, for crying out loud. I will say the Elks
by the way, did you watch that game? I thought Command Center overstepped.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
They absolutely did. It was a great game, too. They kind of ruined the game because I thought it was a great game. I love the CFL. It's the impossible league. I mean, and they should just, they need to step off. I know what they're trying to do. They're trying to make the right call all the time. But when you step in the goop like they did last night, you look like a fool and you can't get it back. So they should stop doing that.
It's good advice, Al. Good advice.
Yep.
Have yourself a wonderful weekend. We will chat with you on Monday.
Sounds good, Jason.
There you go. That's how much like a Lowetide. The oil report brought to you by VolvoCarsEdmonton.com. We'll come back. We got, the text line's humming today. I love it. 833-401-1440. We'll get to your final thoughts, big thoughts. The Hlinka Gretzky tournament's ongoing. You've got a big game today for Canada. It's kind of like the semifinal, really. You move on, you go to the final. If you lose, you go to the bronze medal game. You got Riverhawks playoff game tomorrow. You got the Elks at home on Sunday. You have the Olympics wrapping up. Canada has tied the record for most medals in a non-boycotted Olympics with 24. And we'll look to push for 25. And remember, the Wizard, Conman's pick in breaking. He is our breakdancer insider on Sports 1440 and Oilers Nation, YouTube and Facebook.
The only thing as hot as the weather this summer is a night out at On the Rocks. Every weekend, enjoy live music and top DJs spinning your favorite tracks. The dance floor is the place to be.
Celebrating a birthday or stagette?
Let OTR take the work out of the planning for you. Book your party online at ontherocksedmonton.com. Join OTR every evening from 4 p.m. for a great atmosphere and good company.
There's something for everyone to enjoy.
Grab your Good Vibe Drive and head to On the Rocks, corner of Jasper Ave and 118th Street.
Experience more at the Edmonton Expo Centre. Come for Canada's largest trade shows, the biggest names in entertainment, and exhilarating sporting events.
Get ready for global icon Paula Abdul live with special guests Taylor Dane and Tiffany at the Edmonton Expo Centre Arena Friday, October 4th. The Paula Abdul Straight Up to Canada Tour 2024.
Get your tickets now and visit our full calendar of events at edmontonexpocentre.com.
Excavators, loaders, lifts, compaction equipment, and more. Find the XCMG construction equipment you need. Available for rental or sale at Japa Machinery Group. Japa, helping build Alberta from the ground up for 50 years. Visit japamachinery.com.
The cheesy burger pizza is back at Papa John's. See what happens when you ask for it? Boom! Finally, it's on the menu again for a limited time. Get all the items in the cheesy burger trio or choose between the large cheesy burger pizza for $18.99, cheesy burger papadilla for $9.99, and bacon cheesy burger papa bites for $8.99. All made with sizzling beef, dilly pickles, ooey gooey cheese, and burger sauce. That's right, burger sauce. Get it before it's gone. Better ingredients, better pizza. Better get you some cheesy burger pizza at Papa John's.
Rule number 37. Elk Island mosquitoes don't believe in personal space. Keep bug spray ready at all times. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instance, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days. Because we all know they don't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Maximize your car's lifespan by performing regular maintenance services. Visit Mr. Lube for warranty-approved oil change, scheduled maintenance, and tire service. Open 7 days a week, no appointment needed. Mr. Lube in Spruce Grove is located at the corner of Century Road and McLeod Avenue, or visit MrLube.com.
.45. Continue on the Jason Gregor Show. Connor Halley, our breaking insider. Breaking, in case you're wondering, that's the official term for breakdancing at the Olympics. It is the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Remember, get your tickets for Lotto Max, $70 million and 37 max millions. Like I've always said, I don't need to be the big one. Just $1 million. I'll take $1 million. Like 70 mil would be nice. Don't worry, I wouldn't turn it away, but $1 million would be great. 37 of those and the man prize of 70 mil. Good luck. PlayAlberta.ca. And Konza, the Australian breakdancer, what's her name? The doctor?
Well, we call her in the biz Ray Gun. That's what we refer to
like
her as.
Raygun?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
She's a 36-year-old doctor out of Australia. I mean, hey, Rachel Gunn, Ray Gun is what she goes by. You got to check her out. Like, I commend her, Gregor, for doing what she loves. She's been breaking since her 20s. It got her to the Olympics, but there's a couple parts where she is just rolling around on the ground and her opponent is kind of circling and watching in disbelief. Could be the star of the Olympics.
Well, yeah, like I saw unfortunately, the video that's online is like the last move, right? And so she's, and it's funny is I dare people to even try that move.
I know.
I don't think you could do it, right? Like I've seen you, I listened to you and Donovan. I said, I'll get a video out of you two jabronis, and I guarantee you that neither one of you can even do that move that everybody's mocking her about. Right? Like everybody's like, oh, this would be me trying to break dance at the Olympics. I'm like, no, it wouldn't, because you couldn't even do it. Right? Like it's comical. Like I'm not saying it's good. Don't get me wrong. No. Right? Like it's probably a very elementary move, but it was also her finishing move, which is like, now I don't know a lot about it, but normally when you do the transition in a dance off, you want to end with a really solid move that's memorable. You don't end on your weakest move.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I think we're all envisioning like a Beastie Boys video or something where someone's head spinning and they're doing things like that. Someone's going to mix in the worm. I don't know if that's going to come. I mean, the Wizard, he might throw those moves out there because he's just an elite level breaker. But the Ray Gun, she's got a style of her own. And I just say, go check it out, but don't watch the 13-second clip. It's not going to do it the justice it deserves. Yeah. And again, hey, she took this to the Olympics. If I could do an event, that would get me a free 2-week-long trip to Paris, represent my country, all expenses paid, live in the village, I would do the exact same thing. So commend her for it. She's also a doctor, PhD student. So yeah, she's doing pretty good in life.
Yeah. No, it's good. Yeah, nothing wrong with it. Like, it's just interesting that move. Like, unfortunately, that's what she'll be remembered as in some. Well, let's be honest. Most people will forget in 2 minutes about something online. But it was like, I honestly thought when I watched it the first time, I was like, is she trying to imitate being like a fish on a hook? Because I saw her hand in her mouth. And that's honestly what I thought. I was like, well, if that's the case, then that's not bad. But then I realized, no, it was just like her, sometimes when you hold that pose and you have your hand on your cheek, right? Like when Rashog tries to take pictures, he loves to have he's got his hand on his chin. That's his go-to photo pose. Right? A lot of people don't know that, but it's true. And, that's kind of when she finished, I was like, oh, she wasn't doing that. I'm a fish on a hook. That was my, oh yeah, pose. And I'm like, oof. So it was bold. So,
for the wrong reason, who has been your star of the Olympics? Like, I mean, not for the wrong reason, but the Turkish shooter went pretty viral.
Yeah, I don't know enough about shooting because to me, I'm like, well, when I looked at what he did, I'm like, did the gold medal girl who the day before everyone's like, oh, she's the Matrix. Well, does she really need all that stuff? Is that not cheating?
Mm-hmm.
Like after I see him, he's just out there He's got a very hand in his pocket, very relaxed. That's his style. So there's obviously different styles in how you can be elite at shooting, right? Maybe he has better vision, but I'm kind of like, if you get to have all these super technical glasses, does that really make you a good shooter? Like, that's all I'm saying. Like in biathlon, when you're doing biathlon, you don't get to have the supersonic glasses that come down. It's like it was this Mr. Gadget out here. So yeah, he was a funny, memorable one. But like, to me, when I look at performances, Summer McIntosh, obviously for Canada, had an unreal performance. I look at Thomas in the 200 meter. Oh my goodness. Right. Like you look at when somebody dominates the elite of the elite, that's what stands out to me. Not just a meme or someone, hey, look how he's standing, looks cool. Like, I know that that's the internet stuff, but that's not what stands out to me. Because obviously he was good at what he did, but he also didn't win.
In terms of like legit dominant performances, how about Sydney McLaughlin-Lavroni for the 400 meter hurdle? I don't know if you saw her, like, she was dominant in the semis, got to the gold medal, did the exact same thing, just ran away with it, almost looking effortless for the United States. She was a really good storyline and really dominant performance.
Yeah. So very good. Cons, what's on the docket for you on the weekend, my man?
My little niece's 5th birthday party. Happy birthday, Olive. Well, we're going to go celebrate that at some indoor play place, and then watching a lot of sports, I think. Heading out to the Elks game Sunday night. How about you?
I am I'm debating. We might go to the Riverhawks game, but we have an event, so I'm trying. So we'll hopefully they're not staying. But there's that, and then obviously check out the Elks. I'm going on holidays though officially, so I'll be checking out. So that's kind of me, Cons. I'm getting into holiday mode. It's been a long year, a lot of work to get 1440 to where we're at, which has been great. And so it'll be nice to kick back. I'm going on an Alberta holiday with my son. We're doing a lot of kind of different things. We're going to the Black Falls Water Park and
nice.
A few different Wibbits that he likes around. I'm taking him to the Gopher Museum. Probably go down to Drumheller. So if anybody has any fun Alberta cool things to do for kids that are 10 years old, let me know. Send me an email, gregor@sports1440.ca. I've been Googling them all, but I can always look for new ones. Let's get to the con man. Have a safe weekend, everyone. Cons, thanks in advance for filling in next week. Hope you guys have a great show. Here's a con man Sports 1440 update brought to you by Booster Juice. Stop in. The watermelon wave is back. The fan favorite. It's delish. Order's yours now. Download the app only at Booster Juice.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Another good day for Canada at the Olympics, collecting 3 medals. The men 4x100 meter relay team claimed gold. Andre the Grass ran the anchor, also including Aaron Brown, Jerome Blake, and Brandon Rodney, improving on their silver medal they won in Tokyo. Katie Vincent and Sloan McKenzie claimed bronze in the women's doubles 500 meter sprint canoe final. And on the beach volleyball, Brandy Wilkerson and Melissa Humana Paredes picking up the silver. They fell to Brazil in 3 sets. With that, Canada now has 24 medals, tying their total from 2020. Major League Baseball, the Jays are in action. Vlad Guerrero Jr. extend the hit streak to 21 games. Right now, tied at 1 apiece with the Oakland Athletics. Elsewhere, Orioles up on the Rays 1-0, and the Angels have a 2-1 lead over the Nationals heading into the 5th. The Boston Red Sox lead the Astros 2-1 in the 3rd, and in the 4th, Padres and Marlins are scoreless. Earlier today, it was the Twins knocking off the Guardians 4-2 in game 1 of their doubleheader. Game 2 gets going in about 15 minutes. Tomorrow in town, the Edmonton Riverhawks will host the Bellingham Bells in their first ever playoff appearance. First pitch set for 7 o'clock in the CFL. The Argos lead the Stampeders 7-1 midway through the first quarter out in Toronto. Tomorrow you got Montreal and Hamilton. Then on Sunday, BC heading into Edmonton to take on the Elks. Kickoff 5 o'clock down at Commonwealth. NFL preseason. Falcons right now lead the Dolphins 10-3, and the Texans have a 7-0 lead over the Steelers. In Baltimore, Ravens lead the Eagles 3-0. And at the Hlinka Gretzky Cup right now, Czechia leads Sweden 3-1 in the 3rd period of their semifinal matchup. Later tonight, Canada takes on the United States. That one will get going at 7:30. That's going to do it for us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Up next, another edition of Turn Sports. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440.